There we go. We're live.
Hello, hello, hello.
Finals time. Always fun to be here for the final.
Now, did you post a link?
I think it's ready to be posted. Let's press the send button. See, I'm all prepared.
Except you forgot it.
Look, I'm doing a lot here, all right? It's been a long day. I'm
I haven't
tired.
seen you do anything, just saying. Oh, Courtney's back. All right, so we are heading into round 5, final round of the Ironman event. There are some very tired people out
Yes,
here.
indeed. Mission is sweep and clear for those playing along at home. And I can close all these tabs now because I have many things open at the moment. So we do have...
Okay, important things. I need to get my wine.
You need to get your wine, okay.
There's a lot of cords down here.
Yeah, there's
Okay,
a lot of wires in general around this particular part of the world. We are in the kids' corner here. Did you notice the kids' corner sign there? Just off camera here, we do have a sign telling us we have to leave it neat and clean.
Where's my colouring?
It's behind you, along with the PlayStation.
Ha ha! What a shame I don't play PlayStation.
There's a Nintendo there.
That's not going to help me, I'm going to be honest. All right.
So I am joined by my better half, Emma, for the final round today, who spent most of the day with the kids.
Spent all of the day with the kids, actually.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, that's the way it works.
Sometimes we can have your parents have them for a little bit while you do other things.
No, that wasn't what today was.
Fair enough. So,
all right. So tell me about today, since I've just got here.
Yeah, well, the guys are still doing some of the pre-game stuff, so there's nothing really exciting happening on the screen at the moment. It's been a very long day.
Well, I covered that. So we've had, obviously, 4 games so far.
Yep, we're going into Game 5 now. The round timer has started. The boys have got 2 hours and 25 remaining on the clock.
The boys and one lady.
I was actually referring to the stream specifically since they're on there as Jordan and Aaron. I've learned a lot about the streaming stuff, particularly trying to keep things updated, and there's stuff I'm going to change for the next time.
Okay.
I want to include a round timer, a live round timer on the stream so you can see.
And while that's important, I did actually see... Where did I see? Was it on my... Somewhere I've seen that round timer.
We used it at Masters.
No. I've seen it on a stream today that I saw.
I took a photo here.
Oh, maybe that was it.
Of Stream Alive.
Fair enough.
So, there's been some good feedback on the stream about what we can do differently and ways to adjust. Why did you turn that off? Oh, you're adjusting it. So there's been some good stuff around ways we can make the games a bit easier to follow. One of the biggest pieces of feedback was trying to keep the scorecard live, and I'm torn at the moment as to whether I actually delete it entirely or try and manually keep track of it. No one can hear you.
I just said, oh, okay. It was nothing riveting. You didn't miss anything.
And part of the reason for that is you obviously don't want to interrupt players to get scores. And in this event in particular, where time is of the essence, you definitely don't want to interrupt them if you can help it. So we've kind of only been able to update the scorecards once or twice.
So speaking of time being of the essence, how have people gone with the 2.5 hour timer? I mean, I was here for the end of the last round, and it seemed like everyone finished on time.
Yeah, look, I mean, we've definitely had players time out because they have been using a version of Death Clock.
Okay.
It's not been a death clock, but it has been as good as a death clock. In that once they run out of time, they can make saves and they can take morale and they can still score points and things, but they just can't do anything actively.
Okay.
And we've definitely had players time out. The couple of times that I have seen significant timeouts, the opponent has generally gone, that's fine, don't worry about it, keep playing. And that's generally because there's been a very lopsided army count where one player is just using nothing. And they've got like half an hour in the round to go, and it's like, no, like I'd rather finish the game and either win or lose rather than winning because I just time you out.
Sure.
So the sportsmanship's been really good. We've had take-backs on the stream with players working together. We've had them working together to generate what would be described as intent to make sure that, hey, I'm moving here, this is what I'm trying to achieve, and then working together to make sure that that deployment or that movement or that shooting or line of sight, whatever it is, works that way. Which is really awesome to see. I'm really pleased that that's what we're showing to the rest of the world of how Western Australian players are playing. The games haven't been perfect. There have been a couple of what would be described as sloppy plays because they've meant less. A measurement isn't exact because I've got a 16-inch move. I'm moving 9 inches, so it's going to go about there.
Yeah.
That sort of thing, but nothing that you'd get upset about.
Mm-hmm.
In game 1, we saw Connor forget to deploy one of his HQ choices. And his opponent went, we'll just put him in strategic reserving, spend the CP, and you can come on turn 2. And Connor went, let's check with the TOs whether it's destroyed or not. They went, grabbed Courtney, and Courtney said, look, if you're both happy with him strategic reserve, spend the CP, and that's fine. So that's what they did.
Yeah.
It would have been very easy for his opponent to go...
Tough luck.
Tough luck. And that's a credit to Gary for being the type of player that he is to go, no, that's cool, man, I don't want to, it's not the sort of game that he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had that every game.
Yeah.
Which has been really positive. The games have actually gone almost exactly to time, and that is because I think the stricter rules on what happens with dice down and with timing and with the chess clocks has actually, as much as it pains me to say it, is probably a good thing for the community to force that commitment. So even the fact that it is hard dice down, like it's finish, like if you're halfway through an attack sequence, you finish the attack sequence and that's the end of it. There's no resolutions, there's no I get to have my turn back or anything like that. It's just done.
Yeah.
I also think that making players more aware of the time they're taking with the chess clocks has been really good, because it has meant players have gone, oh my god, I just took 30 minutes for my first turn. And it's making people more aware of the playing time that they're getting.
I'm just seeing Courtney and Alan sitting down outside having a nice little drink. How come we never get to do that at our events?
Isn't that the truth, isn't it?
What are they not doing, or what are we doing wrong?
They're looking at us funnily going, like, what do you mean? What are you looking at?
I feel like we're doing something wrong that we don't get to do that. The funny thing is,
every time I've said something like this, he's gotten on stream and sat out there watching me on stream talking about him. So I'm just waiting for him to press that button and go, what the hell?
It's too late. We've missed it now.
Yeah, he's got about 30-second delay, so...
Yeah, shame. Okay, so has there been anything surprising that's happened today?
Look, we've got Jordan. So Jordan's a 2-time stream player today. He's joining us again with his Dark Angels. Jordan, you need to put more than blue and black on these models. They're really hard to see on camera. I know they are a work in progress because they're... But,
black and blue and silver, they meet 3-colour minimum.
Yeah. Oh, no, they are minimum colours, but at the same time, it's really hard for the camera.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I don't think that was his highest priority when he was getting them ready for the event.
I don't think so either. I learnt today that the lighting, that nice black shadow that runs across from the bar, there's literally nothing we could do about that.
Well, there is. We could strap a light to the top as well, but then we'd end up with more reflection on the table.
Yeah.
I did see the stream a couple of times during the day. And I did try and work out whether or not is there something I can do to try and reduce that shadow, and came up with probably not due to the reflective.
Yeah.
So I did go out to the dungeon and grab one of the mats and consider cutting it down, and then thought, actually, I'm not trying to cut that by myself. So for today, this is okay. Yeah.
It's not been ideal. We did have one other spot we could have moved to, which was up and around the corner. Mm-hmm. The problem with doing that, because there was power there, it actually cost them a table in terms of space for the players.
Right, yeah.
So this corner...
So putting us in the kiddie corner works.
...was the most sensible spot, because we've got all the power here. Yeah. We're out of the way. There's only one cable that connects us to the table, and it was kind of the least intrusive place to be.
And it's a nice comfy chair to be sitting in.
Look, yeah, the couch is a nice addition, I'll admit. So...
Which, when you're sitting on your bum for 12 hours, you want something comfy to sit on.
Absolutely. I tell you what, it's I'm certainly not as drained as if I'd been playing. I guarantee that.
Because I guarantee that as well.
Well, no, but like I'm still awake. I'm still chatty,
functioning and still talking. Whereas some of the players are not.
No.
And I know we have actually had a couple. I'm saying we. There have been a couple of players who have dropped.
Yep.
So I think Jordan and Steve have both dropped.
Yeah. So I know that Jordan was aware of it pre-event and actually got in touch with Courtney and said, "Look, I'm sorry. There's something come up that I cannot avoid. I can either drop entirely, or I have to leave at the end of game 4. And Courtney said, look, I'd rather you play as long as you're still happy to play. Otherwise, you know. So Jordan came and played. And they had an uneven number of players to start the day because one of the players had a situation with his partner overnight. And she's doing well in recovery from what I'm told. But she wasn't great last night. So he couldn't play today. And I think that Courtney was going, oh, that's okay, because they've been playing between the three of them as the ringer. So that's okay. We'll get to round 5 and we'll just drop the ringer.
Out, yeah.
And then it turns out Steve got dropped off this morning, and there was some mix-up where his wife partner came and thought it was 4 games and picked him up.
Oh.
So he's gone, well, I got all the kids in the car.
Yeah.
I have to go. So he's.
They live a very long way away, so it's not like it's not 10 minutes to pop home and then come back again.
No, and the rounds are short enough that you're in this awkward spot with a bunch of little kids in the car for 2+ hours. Nah, past that.
If they were long enough, I wouldn't be driving all the way back to where he lives with 3 kids in the car to then come back again later.
No, that'd be
your choice. You either come home now or
Yeah.
You work out how to get home yourself.
So it's left them with 30 to finish the day, which is fine. So I believe it's Travis from the Toy Soldier Cartel playing the final
I can see
ring-in
him
round.
there with...
So...
over there with Tim, sorry, is the end of that conversation.
Oh, Tim Barnard, yeah. We're now moving in. The guys are just deploying for the final. So if you jump on down under pairings, the lists are there in the chat if you want to go and check them out. So we have Jordan's Dark Angels from earlier in the day.
So Dark Angels did make it to the final.
Dark Angels, we literally had one game today that weren't Dark Angels.
Was that the last one?
Yeah, so that was Necrons v Craft World. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. Have you eaten? Oh, okay. We got a...
Careful.
Yeah.
Just put them on the arm.
Oh,
just put them on the arm
food.
there.
You don't want any?
No, I've just had a massive seafood platter.
Fair enough. People can get some ASMR from me.
Okay, that's just weird.
So yeah, it is a Deathwing Vanguard with Ezekiel, Blade Guard Ancient, 2 Deathwing Command Squads of 2 guys, Deathwing Terminator Assault Squad with 10 dudes, 2 Talon Masters in a Ravenwing Outrider alongside a Primaris Chaplain on a bike, a Ravenwing Apothecary, 7 attack bikes across 3 squads, and then 3 squads of 3 Ravenwing Bikers. Proved super efficient over the course of the day. Is actually being run by 2 people in the room today.
Oh, wow.
There is one difference in the 2 lists, and that's
Who's the other person playing?
Pete Plattel's running the same list.
Okay. And the difference?
One has a lightning claw on a character, and the other has a power sword.
On the same character?
So one person's got a lightning claw on one model, and then that same model in the other list has a power sword.
So why would you go one over the other?
That's the way they were modelled.
Oh, right, okay, fair enough.
From what I understand, there is a Warlord trait difference and maybe a Psychic Power difference as well, but basically, at the core, it's the same list. They actually met in round 2, and Jordan got the upper hand over Pete. So...
I shouldn't have had wine before I've come on the stream, and because I'm having to filter very, very hard. So
I know. Now
and Aaron's list.
Aaron getting to the finale is an interesting little tale because going into round, he played Seb Zelek, who was on the stream in the last round with the Necrons, and the 2 of them went 58-58 draw at the end of round 2.
Wow.
Which left us in a position for round 3 where Seb paired up into the top 8 and Aaron paired down.
Ah. I thought you said Aaron had paired up.
No, sorry, you're right. Aaron did pair up. Aaron paired up, Seb paired down. And then that was reversed when we got to round 4 because we had we ended up with 7 winners and a draw. Yeah. And then we had 3 winners and a draw.
Yep, sure.
And so they've swapped again with the pairings so that now Aaron's paired up into the final. So the stream we've got on that at the moment are guaranteed first and second. So they've already been...
Are there not 3 going in?
There's 1 undefeated. So technically we don't have to play round 5.
Okay, so Jordan could have it.
Jordan in theory wins it at the end of round 4 going 4-0.
Shame.
However...
But now he's having to fight for it.
He's now having to fight for it because he could potentially only finish second.
This is where I get all confuddled.
Yep. I've already had this conversation with Courtney off the air, but go on, confuddle yourself on live video.
Yeah, no, it's all right. I've sorted it now in my own head. I'm just going, okay, so if Aaron ends up winning this, then he's at 4 and a draw, whereas Jordan is 4 and a loss, which puts Aaron higher. But so who's the other person? I thought there were 3. So
you've got... Hang on, let's see if
who's playing on table 2?
No, it's not table 2.
Whatever table it is.
So table 7 is Seb Zelek and Craig Sumpton.
Mm-hmm. And I can't see it on my wine.
Craig is on 3 wins and a loss.
Okay.
And Seb is on 3 wins and a draw.
And Aaron's on 3 wins and a draw. Yep. But there's no way that Seb can win this. So Seb won the last round with Dave?
Yes.
Okay.
So
Seb catching me up.
Seb can finish 3rd, but that's as high as he can finish.
Why can't he finish 2nd? I mean, I know that he can't. Is it just because of the way that this has been set up?
So,
because surely if Seb wins his round and Jordan loses, then we get Aaron in a position where Aaron's won 4 and drawn 1, and we could potentially see Seb doing the same.
So the reason that that's not happening is the TOs put it in the players pack and made sure everyone was aware at the start of the day that going into the final round, 1 and 2 were playing for 1 and 2. So he made an...
So how did Aaron end up on this table and not Seb?
Count back.
On battle points?
Yep.
Okay. Like I said, just catching me up.
All transparent, all above board.
Not saying it's not transparent, not saying it's not above board. I just haven't been here, and so, like I said, literally just catching myself up.
That's how.
Yep, fair enough. Sucks to be Seb, right?
Yeah, look, I mean, I feel really bad for him at the same time, but I can also understand why you don't want a position where Seb potentially wins the event.
And Jordan's already gone
4-0.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's got to be a benefit to getting to the top table in the final round.
Sure, and there's been a logical reason for how that's happened.
Yeah, it's
for Aaron being
absolute
here,
fluke.
Well, it's not fluke. Aaron got more battle points.
Yeah, but what I mean is to get into a position where someone with a draw is on the top table in the first place is fluke because of a draw earlier in the sequence.
Yeah, sure.
Aaron's list.
That's right. That's what we were doing.
Sisters of Battle.
I haven't got my glasses on. Can't see anything. So we're doing Sisters versus
Dark Angels.
Dark Angels again.
Yeah, I've done that once today. That was with Jordan, actually, the last time.
Yeah, right.
So he's got
he should be practiced then.
It's a different list.
Still, sisters are sisters, right?
Oh, no, not at all. So we've got a Order of the Bloody Rose. I'm assuming this is formatted terribly. Aaron, what are you doing to me?
Again, I don't think he cares.
It is a battalion. I've had to guess, but it is. So we've got a Canoness, a Missionary, and the Triumph of St. Catherine, which is the big super base.
Yep.
I
quite love that model.
We've got 3 Battle Sister squads of 5 with simulacrums. We have an Imagifier who is the Warlord with Litanies of Faith and the Beacon of Faith Warlord trait. What do we got? 7 Repentia, 8 Repentia, 9 Repentia. I feel like we need 10 Repentia more at the end of that. So 3 units of Repentia, 7, 8, 9 respectively. Now, I'm going to take a punt and say that ties into the Rhinos at the end to make sure characters can fit where they need to fit, to make sure that works. We then hit 7 Zephyrum and 8 Zephyrum respectively. We get 2 squads of 5 Seraphim. Zephyrum and Seraphim. It's not like that's a mouthful either. We get 3 Retributor squads with 2 with 3 multi-melters and 1 with 4 multi-melters. So 2 squads of 5 and a squad of 6. The 2 squads of 5 have simulacrums in them. And then we have 3 Rhinos.
Sure.
That is an awful lot of melter guns.
Yes.
There's hand flamers in the Seraphim squads. And the Repentia do a lot of work as well with the Bloody Rose. So it's a very different army to the one that Jordan faced earlier in the day, because the one in the earlier in the day only had a single squad of 5 sisters in it. And then the rest of it was Exorcist missile tanks, and we saw Saint Celestine and the Gemini, and it was a double detachment. It was a very different build, and it kind of shows the diversity that you can achieve with Sisters of Battle, even at a competitive level. So I'm going to put up the big screen here so Emma can actually see what's going on.
Yes, thank you.
Just remember the big screen's got about a 30-second delay.
Okay, right.
So I've had to remind everyone of that when they've been sat where you are, because they're looking and commentating on what they see on the big screen, not what's actually happening.
Fair enough.
And I don't know how to fix that yet. So it's another thing to put on the list of stuff to learn.
Yeah.
So you can already see that Aaron's Rhinos have advanced up the table. Now we are playing on I think this is a diagonal deployment again. So we've got one Rhino in the midfield. We've got one at the top left on that objective, and we've got one sort of lurking in the midfield in the ruins.
All right, sweet. I've spotted them now. They were blending in before.
That one.
Yeah, I've got it now.
I want to learn how to put a drawing tool on the screen as well.
Okay, I thought we had that.
I haven't worked out how to do that yet. That's another thing for the list.
Okay. The hard part is then removing the colours.
Yeah.
Arrows
undo.
everywhere.
Edit, undo.
2.5 hours later, it's just red.
So you can obviously see that the Terminator block and all the bikes have sort of castled up in that back corner. There's a couple of really sneaky tricks. Now, the advantage Aaron does have over a lot of people playing this army is that it's very similar to Shane, who's on his own team. Mm-hmm. Shane runs a similar army.
Okay.
So he's probably familiar with the bodyguard rules. He's probably familiar with Talon Masters. He's probably familiar with the Deathwing Terminators. So there's not going to be too many surprises in terms of stratagems or unique rules that could potentially catch him off guard.
Yeah.
Like it would for a player who might be less familiar. Mm-hmm. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
These chips are really nice.
So it's wine. So, on paper, who should win this?
Well, shall we have a look and see what Down Under Pairings has to say about that?
Yeah.
If I can remember where that was.
Every time. You know I ask this all the time. You should know to have it ready.
Look, like I say, it's been a long day. From memory, it's actually in the public page.
I couldn't remember if it was in the public page. We do not want to enter scores.
No, we do not. Predictor. So, player win-loss ratio has Aaron with an advantage, 55 to 45%. Mm-hmm. The factions head-to-head have Aaron winning this 57 to 43. Mm-hmm. The faction win-loss has this for the sisters, 55 to 45. Mm-hmm. So the overall game prediction is Aaron Thompson winning at 55.5% of the time.
This looks very, very close.
Yeah. So it's essentially a slight edge to Aaron on paper. Whether that's necessarily...
See the faces that Aaron's pulling?
Yeah, he's watching the sport up there as well.
Oh, okay, right.
So
I didn't see what he was looking at.
he does look quite knackered as well, so... And that's the danger for this...
He's not alone.
No, and that's the danger for this particular round especially, is that you get tired and then you start making mistakes and you start forgetting things and you start misdeploying, and that's the endurance part of this event.
Yeah.
Or you get distracted by the rugby.
Has there been music on here in the room?
No.
Has there not?
No.
Okay, so I was in having dinner and there was just like, I don't know, heavy metal kind of rock music playing. And I thought it was in here for these players. Mm-hmm. And then one of the waitresses kind of goes, ugh, to one of the songs, which was really quite...
Okay.
And then so they started playing 1950s jazz. And I was like, oh, that's an interesting choice for a tabletop gaming event.
Yep, no, there's been nothing in here.
It's been a bit... Sitting in there was definitely a cacophony of sounds with the music going and the sport and then all of these players. Yeah. It's
been interesting today having the general public coming through to go to the bar and sit out in the beer garden and whatnot as well.
I bet.
A few people kind of going, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, you should have heard some of the conversations that were happening in the dining room about what was
really?
happening. Yeah.
We're corralled in this little spot. We want to be out there.
No. What the hell is going on out there? Did you see... That kind of stuff. Yeah.
It's very disappointing to hear from the general public. Need to get with the times. There's toy soldiers to be played with.
There are toy soldiers to be played with.
So we're already into Jordan's turn one. Mm-hmm. Not particularly surprising given the Sisters of Battle in this particular case don't have a huge amount of long-range shooting. And Aaron's basically used the line of sight blockers for those retributors to keep them safe and out of line of sight in the short term until the Dark Angels decide to pop their heads out of cover. Mm-hmm. There's no point in barreling forward just to get shot to bits.
Is there not?
Well, at the moment, it looks to me... So there's definitely something deployed in the bottom left-hand corner where that pen is. There's definitely something down there. What that is up for debate because I can't tell from the image we've got. But Aaron's in a position where he can wait for Jordan to come to him. He's got that back objective. He's now in the midfield and on the top objective, and he's threatening the bottom on the right. So you kind of get right down to it and go, well, Jordan has to try now and dig him off them.
Yeah.
And the Terminators aren't fast enough to do it immediately. That's probably a turn 3 engagement. But the Raven Wing don't necessarily have the punch to want to be down near those Retributors on that middle objective. So it's a tricky one for Jordan because there's every chance that he gives up the primary in turn 2 to Aaron, who's going to likely score 10 or 15 on turn 2, unless Jordan pulls something out of the bag that's unexpected. Mm-hmm. But the fact there's multiple units in those rhinos makes me think that even the best laid plans are likely to see
something.
The result is likely a 15-point turn 2 for Aaron on the primary.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely an option in terms of the Talon Master, just nudging its wing into the objective because now it's contesting it.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously going second, that means that Aaron can't do anything about it. I have seen a couple of plays today where doing that results in a charge in your own turn because there's heroic interventions and that sort of thing. There's obviously nothing like that going to happen here because it looks like there's no independent characters within spinning distance.
Yeah.
So that's good. So that instantly forces Aaron back to a 10-point turn 2.
Mm-hmm.
And it also means that unless something weird happens, Jordan's going to pick up 10 points turn 2.
Mm-hmm.
And that Talon Master, look, he potentially gets one shooting phase and then dies, but that's actually an okay exchange.
He's done his job.
Well, like I said, the trick for this is Aaron can kind of sit and wait.
Yeah.
And by denying that middle objective, that gives the Deathwing another turn to advance down that angle onto the middle objective.
Mm-hmm.
And it means for turn 2 he scores 10, and then in turn 3 he's likely only to score 10 because those Deathwing are there. And at that point, the Deathwing clear that objective pretty reliably, and it forces the Triumph of St. Catherine, which is in that bottom ruin, and it forces those other infantry and the other rhinos to then overcommit.
Mm-hmm.
And you actually run a real risk of basically just not killing those Deathwing, and you essentially hand the game to Jordan. So I
think that's what Jordan's hoping for.
It just means that Aaron's going to have to be really careful on how and what he decides to engage those Deathwing with, and it might even be sensible to just give up the middle objective and take the top left, the bottom left, and the bottom right, and just kind of
focus on those ones.
Kite around the outside of it, letting the Deathwing have that middle objective. It's hard to say without knowing what their secondaries are as well, because that's another factor. I do know... so, where did I see them? I think, so these... Right at the top ruin.
Sorry, I was just watching a dessert go past. Oh, that looks good. I'm focused. Top ruin.
I'll buy you a McDonald's ice cream cone on the way home.
That is not going to cut it.
So, in the center ruin at the top of the screen, there's a bunch of models that you can see there. Looking at the table, because I can shimmy sideways.
All right.
I can see they are either Sephirim or Zephyrim. I'm not sure which.
Can't tell which one.
They look like they have power swords, at which point they're Zephyrim, but it's hard to... I'm 90% sure they're Zephyrim. So that's obviously instantly putting pressure on that flank where Jordan has to deal with them and respond. And they are only toughness 3 with a 3-up save. They've got an invulnerable save because they're Zephyrim. They're sisters, specifically.
Mm-hmm.
But they're just... It's another cheap, awkward unit that you have to deal with. You can't just leave them to sit there. So it's going to potentially force Jordan to respond to them, because if you've got... It's a bit hard to tell. I think there's probably 7 or 8 there. So yes, you can charge them with Terminators, but that kind of takes you away from the objective. So do you risk just trying to shoot them with the bolters that you've got lurking around there and hope you kill them, and then end up not killing them all, and then having to commit anyway? So...
And I guess part of that is it depends as well on which secondaries they have chosen.
Yeah.
As to what's kind of the...
I've generally poached the scorecard somewhere at the end of turn 1 just to kind of have a look and post them in the chat. Haven't been able to do that so far.
Would you like me to go and do that?
Well, sometimes they don't have a scorecard, but...
What was that?
Sometimes they don't have a scorecard when you ask.
Would you like me to go and have a look?
Hang on, just give me a second and I'll interrupt them.
Well, I can go and ask for a scorecard.
Are you sure?
Yeah, of course I can.
Just so we can see their secondaries.
I just have to remember to take my headphones off, otherwise
I have reminded each guest to do just that. I'm going to eat some more of these fries before they go cold. Secondaries?
I think I've only got Jordan's.
What are they?
Domination, Death on the Wind, and the mission-specific one. It was like 30 seconds, I forgot already. All right.
Hang on.
I'll wait till Aaron finishes doing something and then I'll go. Okay, right. He's just finding the mission-specific one.
Direct assault.
Direct assault. I'll be back.
Death on the Wind isn't one that can be picked by Aaron. This is obviously one of the hard parts about trying to do this and keep you guys informed with what's going on in terms of selections. What secondaries, Aaron? There we go. I knew they couldn't be the same.
Yeah, I thought it was odd.
So, yeah, engage on all fronts, raise the banners, and direct assault. You are going to take some of those fries?
Yeah, it turns out I am.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can keep them over there.
So,
dropping them the fries.
Domination's an interesting choice there.
Why?
Because it's actually quite hard to do most of the time. So he definitely has the units for it, but it's one that it's a high risk, high reward. Let's put it that way. So the wording for domination: score 3 victory points if you control more than half the total number of objective markers on the battlefield at the end of your turn. So if you have a look at it now, he's already scoring domination in the first turn. Sorry, I think we're in turn 2 now. No, we're still in Jordan's turn 1. Because... Oh no, I think he has to clear those, the last of those Repentia on the middle objective there. That are just off to the left of the objective. There's like 2 sisters, one of them whose base is just slightly touching that objective ring. I think he has to clear that, but because I believe that will be a character, I don't know he can clear that. because there are other things closer. Potentially, depending on what's shooting, obviously. But those Seraphim and Zephyrim, whatever those angel chicks are, they're definitely closer, which is going to protect that character.
I'm really struggling with the fact that the screen is upside down. It's taking a lot.
It's funny, I set it up and then someone mentioned it in game 2. No, it was Alan in game 3. And I went, no one knew until you said it.
Yeah, it's really tricky.
I didn't even consider it when I rigged the camera and everything because of the way I was stood.
Yeah.
And then I've set it up, sat down and gone, the table closest to us is actually the top of frame, not the bottom.
Yeah. So I keep going, whose arms are those? Oh, no, that's right.
Yeah.
The Jordans. No, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it has been a little bit awkward. But that's okay. We have worked around it.
It is.
So,
there's dice flying everywhere.
Yeah, there's been a lot of that happening today as well. I did have dice trays on the table, but they kept getting in the way because the size of the tables...
The tables are so small now.
Yeah, there's been a lot of movement and like even keeping them on the edge, they were blocking spaces. So it's a testament to the changes that the terrain has made, that the players are using more of the board and being more active on the tables. So we've lost some Retributors up in the top left-hand side near that Rhino.
Sure.
And that actually looks like a pretty successful shooting phase, all things considered. We've lost the Rhino in the midfield and most of the squad that was in it. It's not going to give Jordan domination. I don't think the Raven Wing Talon Master qualifies for OBSEC. But this is what he's going to do. The Talon Master charges the remaining models because now I don't need to target you as a character. I'm just going to stab you. And that's probably a decent option to try and clear that so you do get domination because that picks up 3 points straight away in turn 1, which is a big deal.
But Jordan's doesn't have domination as one of his secondaries.
Yes, he does.
I thought Aaron did.
No, he had engage on all fronts, direct assault, and raise the banners.
Oh, maybe it was direct assault that I was thinking. Okay.
Direct assault's the mission-specific one. Just so I get the right wording on it. And I think that this is something that we talked about, I forget which podcast it was, picking these secondaries and knowing what you can and can't achieve is so important, and understanding exactly what the wording is on them. We're playing sweep and clear. So direct assault, score 3 victory points if you control either the objective marker in the center of the battlefield or the objective marker in your opponent's deployment zone at the end of your turn. Score 5 victory points if you control both. So the reason Aaron barreled forward in turn 1 was to make sure he controlled that and got 3 points. The reason that it's been so important to Jordan is twofold. Firstly, because it scores him 3 for direct assault, and then secondly, it'll score him 3 for domination. So that middle objective becomes really critical in the early part of the game. And unfortunately, both of them are in a position where they've got units that can threaten the opponent's objectives. So that's obviously why those Seraphim, Zephyrim are at the top of the table.
Top, yeah.
And why the Talon Master on those bikes are flanking, looking for Aaron's home objective. So it's going to be bloody in the middle. And Aaron is playing the Bloody Rose, so we can double up on the entendre there. And it's funny, the each of the games we've seen on the stream. What is going on?
What do you mean, what's going on?
I'm just wondering why that Talon Master is. Oh, I know what he's done. He's played the stratagem that lets him fight and then disappear. So the Raven Wing have a 2 command point stratagem that basically once they finish fighting, they can fall back. So he's gone in, he's tried to kill the character, he hasn't killed the character, I don't want to be here anymore, away I go. So it's a good one. I mean, the Raven Wing characters don't particularly strike that hard anyway, but the slingshot ability it has is absolutely just surreal to watch. It's a bit like a Harlequin unit where you can use, like I saw it with Black Knights earlier today with Gary on table 1 in the first round.
Yeah.
Where he's charged in these Black Knights, and you look at it and go, oh, that is a suicide mission. You're going to die. He fights with them, spends 2 CP, and then goes right back to where he started, and you're left going, oh, okay.
Not going to die. That worked out well for you, didn't it?
Or even better, which is something that, I don't know whether it was him or whether it was maybe Jordan did it, went in, fought, and then when he fell back, quote unquote, he went around and past what he was fighting and picked up another 14 inches of movement into the enemy territory onto an objective that he couldn't reach unless he charged. So he's moved, I think they moved 14. Moved 14, charged 2d6, and then moved another 14. So he's covered 2/3 of the table length. And all of a sudden there's a unit there that you're left going, hang on a minute, I had that objective. There's 5 bikes that are objective secured sat on the objective now. What the hell is this?
And how did that happen?
Yeah. And I think that's something that a lot of the players who are arguing for pure Deathwing are missing out on, when you can do that sort of stuff and just come out of nowhere and score points that you really have no right to score in the conventional game. And when you can have those unconventional plays, that's when you win games. Try not to chew into the microphone.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, so we have a comment, domination and direct assault combo so well. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, in a way, Aaron picking banners and direct assault kind of does the same thing, because when you use raised banners, you basically put a marker down on the objective and you keep it until it's taken.
Yeah. But
also having an engage on all fronts, he wants to be in your deployment zone. He wants to be in your corner of the table. And look, he probably scored, looking at the table, he's probably scored 3 for engage on turn 1. He scored 3 for direct assault turn 1. And he's probably scored 2 for banners on the bottom left and the top left. Because they both had infantry squads on them. So there's probably 2 banners raised.
Yeah.
And those 2 banners are going to earn 2 points every turn until they're taken off him, and 2 points at the end of the game. So Aaron had a really strong opening turn where he basically picked up somewhere between 7 and 10 secondary points without, just by movement.
Yeah.
Whereas
certainly seems to be an army that he's going out to score points in an early game as well. So some of them seem to be, you're less likely to score points in the early game, but you're going to come into your own in turn 3 and 4 perhaps. Whereas this one seems to come out early as well.
Aaron's not got a happy look on his face.
There's a bit of gritted teeth there.
There is a bit of gritted teeth there, but that's okay. It's it can be frustrating when this sort of thing happens. And
shit!
Yep, we've just seen the replay on the other screen with terrain being knocked and frisbeed everywhere. It is not looking good for Aaron in terms of what the table looks like in terms of presence and where everything is, because those Deathwing Terminators on that center objective are going to be all but impossible to shift without the most concerted effort from Aaron. And I don't actually know that if he does venture out and shift them, like it's a 400-point Terminator squad, that by the time he's finished shifting them, whether he's actually in a position to maintain his hold on it before the Raven Wing and the rest of the Dark Angels come in. I don't know that he's got the staying power there. So certainly the Dark Angels are proving their worth today. It's only because there's no Drukhari here. Well, no new Drukhari anyway.
You could have played.
Not with my new Drukhari, I couldn't. Codex only came out today. I've had several people try and steal it out of my box. So, it's definitely... That turn 1 has been pretty rough for Aaron. And while it doesn't seem like it's, he's probably equal on points, the fact of the matter is that maintaining that
the ability
is a problem.
Yeah. It's hard to continue scoring points without the models on the table.
Yeah. And unfortunately, when you're down to an attrition point like this where you only outnumber the Dark Angels 2-1, not 4-1, that's a bad place for you to be.
Saying that, Aaron's a skilled and competent player.
Absolutely.
Also saying that, I don't know how many sides this coin's got, but let's find out. It's been a really long day.
Yeah. Look, Jordan has been on form all day, and he's done really well in every game. And that last game against Craig, at one point looked like it was going to be a draw, and we were actually going to go into the final with 4 players on 3 wins and a draw. And I just went, are you kidding me? What are the odds of that?
I'm sure someone could work out the stats for it, but
and then,
not me.
Like with 10 minutes to go or something, all of a sudden Jordan found 20 points. So, full credit to him regardless of the outcome, because he has bent over backwards to score points, and he's done it in situations that probably the average player has no right to score points in. So he's proved that he knows what he's doing today, that's for sure.
How many players we got today? You already said
32.
this, 30. Yeah.
32 to get us down to this table. 5 rounds down to 1. And it does, Jordan's been playing this list a little bit in practice. I say a little bit, quite a lot. And it just goes to show how well he knows it and is playing it, because he is familiar with how all the moving parts work. So
Jordan's not a new player.
No, but at the same time, knowing how the army functions is half the battle. And
well, that's exactly what I was going to say. So he's not a new player. So not only does he know how his army functions, he also knows how his opponent's army is likely to function as well.
Yeah.
So that's certainly something that comes with experience and practice, and again playing against a multitude of different opponents with a multitude of different armies, so that you do have the experience and you're not going to suffer a gotcha type moment.
Yeah.
Sitting on my handbag, it's really quite uncomfortable.
I also think that this is the first event we've had at 2,000 points at least with the Dark Angels in play.
Yeah.
And everyone kind of assumed that the Death Guard were going to be the thing, and they haven't been. And, apparently it's not quite a third of the players, but we've got over a quarter of the players in the room playing Death Guard, and not one of them is in the. Oh, I think we had one in the top.
You can bring it up and have a look.
Luke Ney was in the top 8, and then dropped game 3, I think it was.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's interesting to watch that. Going back after the event to seeing who the Dark Angels players played and what that looks like, because if you look at Jordan, and Jordan played, well, we know he's played Sisters twice, who are by no means an easy army to beat at the current game. It'll be interesting to see who the other games were against, assuming he beats Aaron, of course.
And we can have a look at that. So you said that the Sisters are by no means an easy army to beat with the current game. Do you think there are any armies at the moment that are an easy army to beat?
Tau.
It's the panel lining. That's the problem.
No, because of the way you have to score objectives, you're kind of in a position where you've only got a couple of options. You've either got to be super durable and mobile enough to get where you need to be to score those objectives. You've got to be too numerous to stop them removing you from those objectives, or you've got to be able to be cagey enough to deny them objectives, like you end up with a lower scoring game because you're not capitalising on your primaries in particular. And Sisters can kind of play all 3 ways. Normally they've got a lot of bodies on the table.
Okay.
Aaron's got nearly 30 Repentia, nearly 30 Sephirim, whatever you want to call them, another 30 bodies in Retributors and Battle Sisters, plus assorted characters, plus 3 tanks. He's probably got 100-ish models in this army. You compare that to the Deathwing and Ravenwing, where you've got, I think it was a squad of 10 and 2 squads of 2 Terminators, a couple of characters, and then the Ravenwing was 3 squads of 3, 7 attack bikes, and 3 characters. model-wise, there's like 35 or 40 models tops.
Yeah.
But the reason the Dark Angels do it is because of the attrition value and their durability. Those Deathwing Terminators, that big squad in the middle, are 2+ armor, 5+ invulnerable. Half of them have storm shields, which means they're actually 1+ armor, 4+ invulnerable. Then they're 3 wounds each, and they're only ever wounded at best on a 4+, which means all those multi-melters that would normally wound on 2s only wound on 4s.
Yeah.
So where you would normally go, I'm going to shoot 15 multi-melters at a Terminator squad and go 15 shots, call it 12 hits, call it 10 wounds, 4 of them vulnerable, so 5 get through your invulnerable save, D6 damage each. Odds are I kill 5 Terminators, 4 or 5. Now you're going 12 hits, 6 wounds, 3 saves. I'm going to kill 2 or 3.
Yeah.
You just
I was going to say 1 or 2. You're being generous.
You just halve the efficiency of those big guns. And if you're unlucky enough when you roll the first damage roll and roll a 1 or a 2, that Terminator soaks another multi-melter. And if you're really unlucky, which is what we saw earlier, we saw 4 multi-melters firing at those Terminators, and it was 1, 1, 1, and it took 3 of them to kill 1 Terminator. So that 3 wound and on top of Inner Circle is just really rough. And the Sisters have answers for it in the form of Repentia and in the form of multi-melters, but it is, it is an uphill fight. And the fact that he's lost a significant amount of those units in the early part of the game isn't going to help that cause.
So looking at it, so he did obviously lose a fairly significant number of models in the early part of the game. Do you think that there's anything that he could have done differently that would have stopped that happening? It's tricky to know given that he went first, and then you've got to try and anticipate what Jordan would have done, based on what he... Yeah.
Look, I certainly think that losing that Rhino and the squad containing it in the early part of the game is probably an unexpected result.
It didn't feel as though he'd made a clumsy mistake at the start that led to that being lost, though.
No, and I mean, to be fair, there are multi-melter attack bikes and there are 2 Talon Masters, and then you've got the weapons on the Deathwing themselves. There is a lot of guns there, and I think it's probably easy to underestimate how many guns the army does bring to bear.
Exactly.
So I suppose the only way you change the game is by changing the secondaries. But the secondaries is picked, generally speaking, the Sisters are good at.
Yeah.
So just watching some more deep striking models being deployed. And the Triumph hiding fairly sensibly, to be fair.
Those windows are all closed?
Yeah, they're all solid. This is one of our terrain sets.
I thought so.
So we do have 6 sets of terrain here today that the Toy Soldier Cartel asked to borrow. They are the Weyland-Yutani sets.
I think one of the good things about having the Weyland-Yutani sets on stream is that the edges are defined, so it makes it easy to see.
We actually had that comment from someone earlier in the day.
Oh, right. It is killing me that those Centre 4 aren't symmetrical.
What Centre 4?
The Centre 4 pieces of terrain.
Well, they might
absolutely killing me. No, they weren't symmetrical even at the start. It was killing me right back then.
Oh, okay.
No. It's also really bothering me that the 2 in the corner are on slightly different angles, but I'm trying very hard to let it go. Clearly I'm failing.
Yeah, clearly. One of the advantages I have found today of being a streamer, people bring you drinks.
Oh, nice.
I've only gotten up to get myself a drink once the entire day. Oh. You even did it. Look.
I did.
You are my wife, though, so...
I'm also kind and generous and loving. That's why I brought you water.
You want me to drive home, that's why you bought me water.
Well, I did check and offer to drive before I started drinking.
I don't know you offered to drive. You did ask how much had I drunk today.
Yeah, it was very similar to the same thing.
So we're looking for lines of fire now. Now, Aaron does have a little ace up his sleeve at the moment in the form of Miracle Dice. So there's a little pool of them you can see forming over on top of that shipping container on the left-hand side of the screen.
Yep.
And sisters have this mechanic where they can spend these dice instead of rolling. So it gives you the opportunity to, if you really want to hit something, I can spend a 4, I'm going to hit. Oh, I really need 6 damage off this shot, here's my 6. And those dice are generated a few different ways. The Triumph of Sir Catherine from memory helps you generate them. There's a couple of relics that I think the Litanies of Faith that the Imagifier has does it.
I'm dredging through my memory to when we've gone through this, and I can't. Yeah.
The most common way, though, is sacrificing your sergeants.
Ah.
So I saw it earlier in a game today where, with Jordan actually playing, and there were 2 squads of 5 and a Rhino. And Jordan's opponent chose to take both the sergeants out of the Rhino when the Rhino exploded and killed 2 models, so that he picked up the 2 Miracle Dice. So little tactical choices like that can make or break the game, and sacrificing 1 point of leadership on a model that hasn't been upgraded in any way is sometimes worth it.
Yeah.
Particularly when you go, oh, I really need to pass a morale test. I've got a 1 in my Miracle Dice pool. Here's my 1. And by the same token, oh my God, I need to pass this 6+ saving throw and I win. Here's my 6.
Okay, so you're saying here's my 1, here's my 6. How do you get the number? So
when you generate the dice the first time, like each time you generate a Miracle Dice, you roll it.
And then it stays at that number, and it stays over in a little pool, and then you get to pick the one that you want.
Yep, spot on.
Yeah, cool.
There's a very similar... the Zench army in AOS does the same thing. Or virtually the same thing. Not the same way to generate it, but it generates a pool of dice that lets you choose the result rather than randomizing it with a random dice roll. And it can be very powerful. So Aaron, being KG here, has managed to get 2 objective secured models onto that middle objective instead of the 1 Terminator, which is going to let him pick up direct assault again for 3.
Jordan's only got
1 Terminator.
1?
Yep.
It's not the other one's not touching?
There's literally just that 1 Terminator. It's in the shadow.
Yeah.
Right there.
What about?
These are all, the other models are all sisters.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, so Aaron, again, being very, very cagey there, ensuring that he is picking up his 3 points. He's still got 2 more from the banners. And, oh, there we go. There's a Deathwing Terminator dying there. He could also potentially plant a banner on that middle objective for this round just to pick up a point. But it's an action, so it does sacrifice doing something with that unit in terms of engagement. So depending on what's there, like if you've got 1 sister left from a squad that's like it's a bolt gun, who cares? Yep, she can do that. You don't really want to be doing it with anything that needs to be shooting or fighting.
Yeah.
So Aaron trying to make sure that he is picking up
as many points
as he can. And here come the Seraphim or Zephyrim, whichever. I'm assuming they'll be Zephyrim if they're fighting, to try and clear that objective. And if he can manage to clear this objective, that's going to be fairly significant, because it's going to apply pressure onto another objective, which means that Jordan's only picking up 5 for his primary going into the next round, because he only holds the 1. And then he has to divide his forces even further to try and engage on multiple fronts.
Yeah.
Yep, there go the attack bikes. So that's actually a really important result. So that kind of puts the game back into a position where he's probably scored 10 points for primary at the start of the round. He's then picked up 3 for direct assault, 2 or 3 for raise the banners. Engage on all fronts, he's probably only getting 2 because he's only got 3 table quarters, not 4. But it's still 8 points in secondaries and 10 in primary.
Yeah.
And if he scored something similar, sort of 8 in secondaries turn 1, he's actually still scoring at a good rate. And getting a 10 for your primary on turn 2 isn't a deal breaker. A couple of turns of 5 and you might start stressing a little bit. But, and then knowing Jordan coming into the next turn, he picks up 10 right now, going into his turn 2, he's only picking 5 for primary, which is obviously a 5-point swing straight away. Mm-hmm. And we know from their secondaries it's likely they were roughly even at the start of the game.
Yeah.
Now, the Dark Angels one that he picked, the Death on the Wind or whatever it was called, from memory, and it's not in the app. None of the secondaries are in the app, which is something I have to send a message off to about, because it's the only thing not in the app. I can't find the secondaries. From memory, and I could be wrong, if you're watching this, feel free to chuck it in the chat.
Not that we can see the chat at the moment.
I can minimise it, but that's fine. I would love to know if it's the secondary that you have to kill an enemy unit after moving. I think you have to make a maximum movement and then kill a unit. And obviously Jordan's geared up to do that with the Raven Wing the way he's done them, because between the Talon Masters and the attack bikes, moving their max distance and then killing something in an MSU environment where you've got all these 5-man squads everywhere, and your Talon Master sits there and goes, I have 18 shots hitting on 2s. Scoring that's actually not difficult for him to do it regularly. I think that's what it does. So here come the Deathwing Terminators onto that midfield objective. Shifting those will be awkward. It looks like there's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It looks like there's still 8 of them there. There's 1 on the inside of the ruin, and then there's 3 on the objective, 3 beside the objective, and 1 kind of forming the conga line backwards to the one on the other side of the ruin. The Raven Wing Apothecary has to come down and keep himself in range to keep them going. That may be Ezekiel going in the middle there. No, sorry, it's the Blade Guard Ancient. I can see him from here. That's the one thing. It's normally we're at least at the height where I can see the table, but these tables are a metre off, probably a metre high.
Maybe higher.
Maybe a little bit
110.
higher. Well, and the camera's 2.2 metres in the air, and it's still not capturing the whole thing because the tables are so high.
Is that as high as it goes?
That's high as it goes. And I thought, wow, this is higher than any of the other frames, and it's really sturdy and really stable, and I still can't see the whole bloody table. We do have some comments. Yay! So, comment, the key for this game is limiting the Raven Wing's secondary kills. Absolutely. Callum, hey guys, everything going? Lots of Dark Angels players today? Yeah, there have been, absolutely. Necrons, Dark Angels, but mostly Death Guard. The strength of Az's army is the reserve turns, and you have to move more than 12 to score it. I knew that you had it was either a max move or it was a distance move. Thanks very much for filling us in with that one, mate. Because, like I say, you put the code in from the book, and they don't give you the secondaries in the app, which is...
And I have heard people say, I wonder if that means that they're going to be dropping the secondaries.
God, they're spending so much time releasing them. I bloody hope not. I'm hoping it's just, hey, we need to put these in at some point. Let's put them in when everyone has them.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I've paid for the book. I've got the code.
Put it in there.
Put it in there. I'm paying the subscription on top of that. Give me what I need.
Yeah. So we're over an hour in.
Yep.
We've got an hour and 24 minutes left.
We're into Jordan's turn 2 at the moment. Now, that seems a bit hazardous. But you got to remember, they didn't start at 2:30.
No.
As in 2.5 hours. They started probably closer to 2 hours.
Yeah, I was going to say 2:10 maybe.
So...
so what I was going to ask is Courtney going to let this run over?
I don't think so. Because apart from anything else, it's going to be really late as it is when we finish. I would assume the intent is to...
To be fair, it's not going to be that late. I mean, it's going to be 9 o'clock.
Well,
that
is
late.
9:30 before this game finishes. And
okay. I thought this started at 7:30.
We have an hour and 23 minutes to go, and it is 8:07.
All right, yeah, fair enough.
So it's going to be 9:30 before this game ends, and then there's the awards, the pack up, the clean up. There's every chance you and I will still be here at 10:30. So, and that we'll probably leave before some of the other guys here.
Yeah.
So... The fact is that he might just turn around and go, "No, we're not doing that."
And they are using a clock as well, so
it is all chess clocked. And I think for the spirit of the event, you actually want them to play the same way.
Yeah, most definitely. But you know why I'm asking?
Oh, absolutely.
So that there's,
So there is actually a winner, not, we got to turn 3 and this is the
and
result.
you sort of talked it through, and this is, not that we're talking through rounds, but, yeah, you want to finish the game.
Earl says, Dark Angels wouldn't be anywhere near as ridiculous as they are without their Codex secondaries. I don't know, man. The Deathwing, I don't think that the one that Jordan's playing now, the Death on the Wind, is any better or worse than any of the other secondaries he could have picked in the same category. I mean, you look at the new secondaries for the Drakari. There's one out of the 4 of them that feels like I could play this, but even then it's not a gimme. There's a choice involved. So I don't know that. I mean, Stubborn Defiance is a funny one because I've watched 2 Dark Angels armies play it, score 15 points on it, and lose because they have to commit a massive Terminator squad in the backfield objective, not do anything for the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think understanding how those are scored and then trying to mitigate them is just part and parcel for the game. I know that I'm 90% sure that the WTC is allowing them, and I know most of the other major events have already come out and said we're going to allow them as and when we can run again. And if we're going to get 1 codex a month by the end of the year, we'll have another half a dozen books with them.
Oh, 8.
Well, we know that the next release. Oh no, we've actually got the Crusade book. That's already come out. That came out today. There's a comment there. I think it's much better mainly because of the Talon Masters. Yeah, absolutely. The Talon Masters are an exceptionally good unit for scoring that with. But I also think that the reason they score it so well is because of the way the community has changed with 9th edition and the armies that are being written. Because all of a sudden, there are very few to no vehicles in a lot of these armies. So you're all on foot. There's lots of multiple small units because you want to be able to be here, there, and everywhere to score. And then you give me a vehicle, like a fast vehicle, with character profile, with 18 shots a turn. So it's... I think part of the reason it's doing so well at the moment is there's no evolution for the lists. This is the kind of the first event we've had with these here in Perth. And it might just be a case of, hey, you know what? I actually need to start putting a couple of vehicles back in the army to start protecting key things, which is going to change army builds entirely.
Do you want me to go try and steal their score sheet?
No, not at the moment.
Okay.
Got another member of the Toy Soldiers turning up. So there's another comment here. The bodyguard rule plus the Talon Master is really hard secondary to overcome. Yeah, look, the bodyguard rule, I feel an FAQ on that it won't work on Talon Masters. So at the moment, if you want to target a character, the character has to be the closest and visible.
Yes.
Which means that you can have a model out of line of sight but closer and you still can't target that character, provided the character meets the Lookout Sir rules, which is normally 3 models.
Yep.
The bodyguard rule overcomes that and goes... If the character is within 3 inches of the unit with the bodyguard rule, you can't target it.
Okay.
It doesn't matter whether it's got line of sight, it doesn't matter whether it's the closest, you just can't target it. So at the moment, there are 2 Deathwing Terminators, who are these infantry models, protecting these giant skimmer vehicles with the bodyguard rule because they have the character keyword. So I feel like that bodyguard rule...
So if they can't target that, they are still the closest, which means they can't target anything else either?
Well, you can target anything that's not a character. But what Jordan's done, so I don't know if you can see it from here, there's 2 Terminators. If you lean over and have a look, there's 2 Terminators behind this ruin.
Oh, wow, I can see heaps better than not trying to look on the table.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
So on the other side of that wall is a Land Speeder, which is a Talon Master.
Yep.
So you can't target the Terminators because they're out of line of sight, but they're protecting the Talon Master, so you can't target him either.
Right.
Now, clearly that's not in the spirit of what this was likely written for. It was likely written for the Deathwing Command Squad to be protecting Deathwing characters. Oh, God. Did you put fingerprints all over the trophy? Oh, Jesus. This is why we can't take you anywhere, Rory.
It's clean now. It's fine.
So I feel like there's going to be an FAQ that says you can only use it on infantry models or something like that. And that fixes it straight away. You're only allowed to take 1 Codex secondary, correct?
Yes.
Sort of. So we house rule this.
I was
it's
about
one of
to
the
say,
few house rules we do. In the rules... In the rules, you can take a faction secondary when you meet the criteria. So, but it's one per book. So if you're a Blood Angel, you could take a faction specific from Codex Space Marines and a faction specific from Blood Angels, provided they weren't the same category.
Yeah.
Now,
we ruled it that you can take one or the other.
One from the most specific book that you're using, as in what your wallet is. So in that case, the Blood Angels one overrules the Space Marine one. The reason we did that is, first of all, there's a whole bunch of people that don't have Codex secondaries.
They don't have any, let alone being able to take two.
And secondly, only Space Marines get access to that double up at the moment with supplements. And I'm okay with the idea of some armies having them and some armies not having them. It's when you double up and create a third category.
Well, so you've got some that have got none at all, some that have got one, and some that have got two.
Yeah.
So, well, yes, it's going to be okay. Well, people are going to feel that it's unfair that some have got one and they don't. But we can justify that.
Yeah.
But then to go, okay, well, actually, anyone who's Space Marine
for some reason gets two.
They get two.
Yeah.
There's already enough kind of
Space
upset over Space Marine.
Yeah.
Let's not add to it.
So I think that it's one of, off the top of my head, it's probably the only house rule that jumps immediately to mind for our players pack. We've always, for our events at least, stuck to as close to the rules as legitimately possible. I don't know what the ruling was for today, whether the guys have been allowed to take two. I haven't seen anyone take two, but then I haven't moved very far from the top table, so I don't know. When Courtney comes back around, I'll ask him. But it certainly, I feel, I think you'd get even more feel-bad moments if you rocked up to the table as a Chaos player with no secondaries and your opponent went, I'm going to pick Oaths of Moment and Death on the Wind because I can. And you're left going, oh, Jesus. So, yeah. Callum says, I didn't even think about taking one from Space Marines and one from my supplement. Yeah, it's... If you go to the Codex secondary section in both those books, it basically gives you a list of keywords. Is
Callum playing at the moment?
I don't know.
Is he in the room? I know there is a Callum in the room. Because if you're playing, you're supposed to be playing your game.
What do you mean towing into ruins? You have to be in the footprint, Ben. It's not a house rule. The rules are very clear. You have to be in the footprint of the building. You can't be outside the building.
So the only time that may be a house rule is if our terrain doesn't have a footprint.
Yeah, but what he's referring to is, and you see it happen a lot in America, where they touch the outside of the building and then claim they're in the terrain.
Did you put the rule in place that they can only have one Codex secondary?
Yeah, Callum, if you go to the Codex secondary section, then it's basically done on keywords. So if you have the Adeptus Astartes keyword, you can take the Space Marine one. If you have the Blood Angels keyword, you can take the Blood Angels one. So that's kind of how you get around that. Ben, I will even show you, not today, but I can show you an image of the footprint of the building that is not outside the building. I've actually got a photo of it.
Okay, so I just checked with Courtney and they didn't limit it, so they can take both.
Playing it rules as written.
Yeah. So Courtney said whether he agrees with it or not, that's rules as written.
Callum
so
says, no, I'm not playing today.
That.
I was down earlier today for a gander, though. Ben, I'll take some photos, not tonight, tomorrow, of how you draw the footprint of a building in a Games Workshop publication to show you why we've clarified it the way we have. Not tonight. It's not going to happen tonight. Richard says, happy anniversary, guys. Enjoy the romantic evening.
I know, it doesn't get much more romantic than this.
Look, we're together. We're out at a restaurant, kind of.
That's a stretch.
It is a stretch.
We're in the kiddie corner.
We're both dressed up.
That is a big stretch.
Ben says
you're not in thongs, I'll give you that.
I was almost in thongs this morning and I thought, you know what? I'm going to a pub. I'd actually better put shoes on.
There's a fair few people.
And then
in
I'm
thongs.
looking at Jordan here in
I think dress code has changed.
Yeah, definitely. Ben says he will gladly have that discussion. No worries, man. I'm all for having these conversations. It's something that Ben and I had a great conversation today. We're in one of the games, and it's something that he and I have had plenty of times where we've disagreed on rules. Mm-hmm. But I hope him, as well as many others, understand that we're not just going to put our foot down and go, no, we're right. We're happy to have those conversations and understand your perspective. We won't always change our mind or our perspective, but we're at least going to try and explain how we reach those decisions and why we do what we do. So, hopefully that gives you some solace in the fact that we're not just stamping our feet and saying no.
You do that, though.
Look, I do that. And sometimes people frustrate the shit out of me, but...
Focus. What's happening in the game?
Ben says happy anniversary, Emma.
Thanks, Ben.
So, let's go back to a big screen. Or can I go back to a big screen? We still have the chat. I haven't figured out how to put... That's what I'll do. I'll get rid of the scorecard and I'll put the chat there.
Can you do that?
Yes.
Oh, okay, awesome.
I'm 90% sure I can.
I can bring the chat up on my phone if you like.
No, it's fine.
Then I can hold it in my hand. I'll actually be able to see it.
You better read it? Yeah.
Maybe. Okay, so what's happened?
So we've got obviously some heavy commitment into the middle objective from Jordan with the Dark Angels, the Deathwing going in, and we've also got bikes. There's the Chaplain on bike in the middle there. I can also see the Apothecary in the midfield there as well. So there's a fairly heavy commitment to clearing that middle objective. Now, it looks like Az has still got a handful of those. I think they're Seraphim? No, they must be Zephyrim. Who knows? The bloody winged things are down on the bottom right objective, and they're still on there. Now, they're not objective secured, whereas that one bike towing the objective is.
Okay.
So at the moment, Jordan controls that bottom objective. Mm-hmm. Now, if you look at going into Az's next turn, he's still got the bottom left.
Is Aaron's arm being that close to that terrain piece bothering anyone else?
No.
After the last time.
After he bashed 2 buildings over. So he's still controlling the bottom left, but unfortunately, if you look at what else he can score, he's not scoring the top left, he's not scoring the top right, he's not scoring the midfield, and he's not scoring the bottom left. So that leaves him with just 5 points in the primary for the following turn.
Yeah.
Which is not good. It also puts him in a position where there's so many Dark Angels and Deathwing pressing in on the midfield that...
I'm not counting him out.
No, but it's a hard recovery period if it can be done at all, because now Jordan's going to score 3 for domination, 3 for direct assault. I'm sure that he's going to kill something with a Talon Master to pick up the Death on the Wind. And then he may have only scored 5 points to start this round for primary, but next turn he's almost certainly going to score 15.
Yeah. So
this particular moment in time almost represents a pivoting point where we could very easily see Jordan pick up 22, 24-ish points, and Aaron's next turn, he doesn't get direct assault. He's potentially losing at least 1 banner. He's going to get engaged on all fronts for at least 2 points. That's something, but he's only getting 5 for primary as well. So across a 1 battle round sequence, the swing is probably a 15-point boost for Jordan.
Yeah.
So, and the momentum was obviously Jordan's at that point as well, and that's kind of where this army really shines. Those Deathwing are now in the midfield, and are they likely to get down to that bottom left objective? No. In theory, they could, once they sort of consolidate. They charge and they kill everything that's in combat with them. They pile forward, and they probably can by turn 5. But the reality is the midfield's worth at least 6 secondary points for him, and he can afford to only get 3 for direct assault each turn, because it caps at 15 anyway over 5 turns. Yeah. And if by some scenario he goes, oh, you know what, I can actually pick up 5 this turn by zipping down, cool, he picks up 5 that turn. I don't think that'll happen because, like I say, there's a unit tucked away on that objective on the inside of that ruin, but at the same time, I don't know, I just think he's running out of models way too rapidly. So, and it's funny, like I was talking with Gary's game with Courtney, and in the last game with Seb and Dave, talking about some of the movements they make, and we were sort of going, Seb's done
Gary's
this.
game was against Jordan. Connor. Not against Courtney. I know you were talking to Courtney, but I was like, hang on, what? Yeah.
Some of the stuff that you see from this point of view, you obviously don't see as a player.
No.
And it's hard because you can look at this and go, like we did with Seb in the Nightbringer last time. We went, oh my God, if he moves here, it puts all this pressure, and Dave can't do this, and this, and he didn't do that, and we both went, oh, that feels like a mistake. And Seb still won the game, and he didn't win it he won it reasonably convincingly. And we talked to him. He
won it reasonably convincingly, but he's not on this table.
That is true. But we talked to him afterwards and went, hey, why didn't you do this? And he went, I measured to do basically what you suggested, but not quite. And it was half an inch too short, and I couldn't do it. And the theory that we had to adjust for that half inch would still have been sound, but he chose to do a different choice. Whether that would have made the game more decisive so that Dave could... Because Dave actually had a shot at winning that last game if everything had gone right. And 2/3 of it did.
What's Dave playing?
Crawford order. His goal for today was to go 3-2. He did that. He's on 3-1 at the moment. So he can go 4-1.
Or he can go 3-2 and he's happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Could have gone home at the end of round 3.
Could have.
Called it a win.
But he was, at that point, still playing for the top table.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. Azza probably has another Sephirim, and Repentia unit in reserves. Judging by his face, Ben, I don't know that that's the case.
To be fair, Aaron's face hasn't actually changed since I got here.
It's very stoic.
Oh no, he smiled. Just to prove me wrong.
Ben says hello, Azza.
I was going to say, even when I came when he was sitting outside, he's still... so I'm not sure how much of that is from sheer exhaustion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, you look around the room and there's still plenty of smiles on people's faces, and, you know... They're
a different kind of smile now, though, aren't they?
Look, they're going, I've got an hour to go, and we're done.
I can do it. The end is in sight. So Mitch is wandering around. He didn't play today?
He was meant to play.
I thought he was meant to play.
And I, without speaking for him and without having heard it from the horse's mouth, he called in this morning, with food poisoning, violently ill from last night, and didn't go to work. He was...
I hope it's food poisoning and not gastro.
Oh, exactly.
Stay over there, buddy. Actually, I could do with a week off work.
Oh, Jesus.
I might just lie.
Have time off, lose weight, enjoy gastro.
Winning.
Oh, God, that's disgusting. We're not doing that. So, he was meant to play and then was apparently very unwell this morning, but by lunchtime had said, I want to come down and say hello, and since he's not at work today, because he'd obviously organised the casual to fill in, he actually sent me a message going, I'm going to be there in 20 if you need a co-host for the final round. And I've gone, I'll let him get here and see you sat here. I'm sure he'll figure it out.
Actually, in fairness, there were a couple of people who had said they'd hoped to chat with you for this. And I was like, tag out with you.
Yeah, actually, there have been a few people who...
Where's that bit of terrain come from?
I think they're moving it just because there's pokey-outy bits on the model to try and make sure the measurement's done correctly.
Right, fair enough. Oh, yeah, I see.
So they're just basically, so they've marked where the corner of the building was, making sure that the model can move legally without interference, measure the distance accurately, and then put it back. It's pretty close to where it was. It's probably only out by half an inch. It's pretty close now. Still needs to scoot.
It does, doesn't it? And
half an inch to the right, but it's pretty close.
My eye starts twitching, you know why.
Thankfully, the camera resolution on the one that's looking at us isn't as good as the camera that's looking at the table. And that's mainly because I've run out of USB ports.
I've got the extension thing with the board so you can plug 4 in.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't find it this morning at 5 a.m. in the dark. So, here we are. So we now have a command in control of that midfield with the Deathwing and the assorted support. It looks like we do have Repentia fighting on the top flank there. I don't know that that's enough because the Blade Guard Ancient, I believe, will have the banner of -1 damage. And if I'm right, those Repentia chain eviscerators only do 2 damage base anyway. Which means when you're swinging at a 3-wound Terminator, you're needing 3 failed saves to kill 1. and then they'll also have feel no pain from the apothecary. So it's normally Repentia are remarkably good at butchering their way through infantry, but the Deathwing Terminators, on top of everything else, can only be wounded on 4s, and there's just this stacking of defences.
Just making it trickier.
Where am I, Repentia? So their Eviscerator is flat 2 damage. So with the -1 damage from the banner and in a circle, these Repentia would normally go in with the Bloody Rose as well. So they normally go in essentially with 2 or 3 attacks, hitting on 3s, potentially rerolls, wounding on 3s or 2s with potentially rerolls, and instead they're going in hitting on 3s or 4s with rerolls, and then wounding on 4s, and then only dealing 1 damage, and then there's a feel no pain involved if you can get past the invul saves. And I don't know at 16 points a model compared to the Terminator's 38. I don't know they're efficient enough to do it. On a 2 Repentia don't kill 1 Deathwing, and you really need them to. So, ironically, 2 Repentia would kill a normal Terminator. It's just the combination of stuff that stacks on the Deathwing that makes them so brutal. I have to say, the ability to be looking this stuff up all day on that app has really been useful, because we can read the strats, we can read we can read kind of everything that's going on, which has been really cool.
It's just those secondaries that are missing.
That's really been frustrating me, because being able to sort of talk about those with people watching, so that if you're not familiar with the army, you know what's going on, is kind of missing. And
obviously you can't bring all of the codexes.
Oh, God, no. There's way too many books to lug around. Azza has his game face on. He said his kid had him up at 3:30 this morning.
Oh.
So, yeah, he's going to be feeling it.
To be fair, I'm not sure how it's going, but
the hat's off. The hat has come off.
And it's happier than I've seen him looking since I got here. So
his brain's getting cool air. Callum says, how are the primary objectives determined for today? I'm not 100% certain why the 5 missions were picked the way they were. I know that I tend to have a vague idea of the sequence as to what I want and hope to achieve with each mission. I know that we played Dawn of War, sort of standard deployment. We've played...
You see, you close your sheet down. I bet you wish you kept that open, don't you?
We've played Vanguard. We've played Hammer and Anvil. This is Table Quarters. So I think we've actually played 4 different deployments today. I think the game 4 would have been standard deployment. So we have played a decent mix. I know that... I think at least one of the missions was hold 2, hold 3, hold more, instead of hold 1, hold 2, hold more.
Okay.
The domination format rather than the take and hold format. But I think it's only been one of the games that's had that.
So to answer your question, Callum, we don't know.
No. It's not our event. Pretty much.
Did you read the players pack?
Do you know how many of them did? Because Down Under Pairings, for whatever reason, had only loaded 4 rounds for today.
Okay.
So when we realised that, Courtney came over and said, hey, can you help me load the 5th round? I said, that's fine. We went in to load the 5th round, and it showed rounds 1 to 4, but it showed missions 2 to 5 as rounds 1 to 4.
Oh, God.
And I just went, oh, my God, how many people played that wrong? And I looked back at the stream and went, we played the missions from the players pack, and this was at the start of round 4. So Courtney's gone around and checked the room, and everyone's playing the right mission.
Wow.
And I've gone...
That's unheard of.
How the heck did you manage that?
We're doing something wrong.
Maybe we just need to,
They read the players pack and look at the TOs outside, gabbing.
Drinking and eating, yeah.
We're doing something wrong.
Apparently.
We'll have to take lessons.
Look, I can wear a hat and grow a beard. That I can do.
Yeah, that's not the part that I'm after, to be fair.
Fair enough. Vital Intelligence round 3 was hold 2, hold 3, yeah. I knew there was at least one today that was hold 2, hold 3, hold more, which is the domination.
Yep.
Domination, I think is what it's called. And those are really good sort of mid-tournament rounds to kind of break the field up, and the fact that it was round 3 makes me wonder whether Travis or Courtney, I'm not sure which one of them picked the missions, whether there was a thought process there going, how do we break the field? It just happens that round 3 was also the weird round where we had draws in round 2 and then the knock-on effect into round 3.
So there was only one draw in round 2? Two draws?
Well, we can actually check that because technically I'm a TO for today. So we had no draws in round 1. We had one draw in round 2. No draws in round 3. And no draws in round 4. So we had one draw in round 2.
All right. So the way that you just said it made me think that there were a few draws in round 2, and I wondered what it was about round 2 that had caused the draws. But if it's just one, then nothing.
Wow, there is a game that finished an hour and 7 minutes in.
Okay.
With a max score win at that. So I don't know whether that was a concession or whether that was a like an early tabling. From the armies in question, that's a strange one. I don't know what happened there. I'd be interested to find out from one or both of the players.
I see one of them wandering around down there.
Okay, well...
I saw him wandering around before and didn't kind of click. Yeah.
Yeah. 100-point win in the final game. That's a nice way to end your day, regardless of where you are in the pack. So... there's definitely a bunch of people now ordering different bits of food to round out the day as well.
The food was amazing.
It was actually really good, wasn't it?
So I brought our kids down and my parents because they've taken our kids home again. And so they didn't actually give us the kids menu, that was frustrating because they gave it to the other table that was full of kids. But our kids, well, 2 of them are adult size.
Yeah, 2 of them are teenagers, yeah.
But our youngest one isn't. So she had a carbonara, which was actually bigger than she was.
You mean a parmigiana?
No, I mean a carbonara.
She told me it was a chicken parmy. All 3 of them had chicken parmy.
No, all 3 of them had carbonara.
Oh, okay. She just got it wrong then. Well, she is 8.
Yes, but it was bigger than she was. So it was delicious. So much mushroom.
Well, yeah, actually, the guys have done a really good job today. I know that they pre-ordered the meals for everyone who paid today to play. So all the meals came out really well done. I had one of the players, Adam, come up to me and go, "Hey man, have you ordered lunch?" And I went, "No, I'll sort it out because we were just ending the game." And he said, "Oh, I went up and ordered lunch from the bar, not realising that he'd already ordered food. So he was offering me the meal that he'd paid for. And then, Shane's gone, no, we'll sort that out. Don't worry about that. There's not going to be a meal wasted. It'll be fine."
Yeah.
So my meal did come out very quickly, though. So who knows?
Perfect. Do you want me to go find out what happened with that game?
I think I'd rather get a score update from these 2 guys.
Score looking like.
What are we talking primary for you? What's your score, primary and secondary?
6, 12 plus 8, 20 secondary.
15 primary, did you say?
$20 primary for Aaron.
15 secondary. There we go. Yeah, 35 all at the moment. The problem, of course, with that is when you look at the table, looking at Aaron's turn 3, he's not in a good spot in terms of scoring more points. He's definitely not getting direct assault this turn. He's still got banners on at least 2 objectives, which is good. I'm just trying to work out. Engage on all fronts, he's picking up at least a couple of points. Like, he's still scoring secondaries. I just don't know that the primary... Like, he's got 20 primary. That's including the 5 that I'm assuming he's already picked up for this battle round. which means Jordan's primary is yet to be scored for turn 3, and Jordan's going to pick up 15 at this moment in time.
Yeah, but it kind of evens out, doesn't it? Because then Aaron still gets to score at the end, so...
Well, no, he doesn't, because Jordan went second, so Jordan gets to score at the end.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's right.
So, and this is something that the dynamism of the way you score has actually been changed with that very change, because now if you go first, you actually have to be proactive and commit, because for your primary, you have to be ahead of the game to make sure that when you start your turn 5, you're scoring you need. Whereas going second, you score at the start of your turn 4, but then you get to maneuver before you score at the end of your turn 5. So scoring 10 or 15 points at the very end of the game by going second is pretty common. And if you stack that up with secondaries that are scored at the end of the turn, you can all of a sudden go, hey, I've just finished my turn 5 and I've scored 30 points. So it does definitely change the dynamic of the table if you're going first compared to if you're going second. And I've heard a lot of players wanting to go second because it gives them that late game opportunity.
It's such a shift from 8th edition where if you go first, you win. If you go second, you lose. Now it's, I want to lose the dice roll, so I go second.
And the funny thing is, I mean, the margin of the advantage that go first at the start of 9th edition gave was minor. It was there, but it was minor. That number, we haven't had enough games to say that is decreasing because of this in terms of the win-loss.
Yeah.
And to be fair, it's never going to be even. It won't ever be 50-50, or like if it gets below 55% in one direction or the other, that'll be a minor miracle. But the fact that players feel like it's more fair is probably more important than what the statistics say. And I think the danger as a community is someone publishes an article going, no, it's done nothing. It doesn't matter whether you go. If you go first, you still win. And the community changes its behaviour despite their average game experience, because obviously a lot of the data that we get comes out of tournaments where the mentality of the player is different to the average game that they would play with their mates or at the local store or...
For some. Some people don't change their play style.
No, some don't, but plenty do, I suspect.
And that swings both ways. So some casual players don't change the way that they play in tournaments, and some hardcore tournament players are hardcore players regardless of where they play.
Yep. So we've got the triumph of St. Catherine now making her way into the arena.
About time. I was only joking. Just in case.
So I will admit it's a model that I'd forgotten was actually part of this game. She potentially adds a lot of weight to that midfield. I don't know if it's enough to shift what's there, but she'll have an impact. Good combat value, good support value. Most of the reason you take her is the support value. But she's still 18 wounds with an invulnerable save. She's got a bunch of attacks with power weapons. She's not an ideal thing to try and fight Terminators with, because the Terminators are all multi-damage attacks, which means that she will die reasonably rapidly if they start swinging Power Fists at her, or Thunder Hammers, or any of those sorts of weapons.
Yeah.
But it's a 200-point model. You can't afford to have it sit there with a couple of auras out of line of sight when you're being pushed.
She needs to be doing something
in the middle of the field. She needs to come out and get involved. She's got 7 bolt pistols because of all the people on the base. It's only 7 bolt pistols, but it's 7
It's still 7 bolt pistols.
It's still 7 more shots than you had a second ago. I'm trying to decide whether Dave has just beaten Shane or is about to beat Shane, or it's hard to tell because Shane's a pretty happy person most of the time. So I've just heard Eldar OP. So
well, Shane's walking away from the table.
It does look like Dave's packing up. I wonder if we've got a score in from them then.
If he's put that score in before he packs up, I'm going to have an all-out tanty.
Dave has scored it, yes. Shane hasn't approved it, but Dave has scored it.
Well, that's something. I'll take that.
All right. Closer game than it seemed. Yeah, at the moment it is, Callum. I suspect, though, that as this game drags on, that number is going to get worse. How's everyone?
I think it's going to be a close game right to the end.
No, I don't. I think it's about to become a blowout.
Nope.
Paul Bennett, how is everyone looking at the home stretch? Tired, weary, reasonably jovial in the room?
Yeah, everyone seems quite happy.
Yeah.
Just, I was going to say perky, but in an exhausted way.
Some want to go second, others want first turn. It seems to differ faction army to army. Ben says Kathy is incredible. Azza is a pro with her. Yeah, look, she has to come out and get involved. There's no other option at this point in time. The game is too heavily slanted in the Dark Angel's favour in the midfield that her coming out is going to be vital to Azza having a shot at this. Part of me sits here, we're rooting for the underdog going, yeah, look, the table presence isn't good, but it'd be nice to see him win it.
Yeah, nobody ever wants me cheering for them because it generally means it's
means
not
you're
going
losing.
well for
Yeah.
them.
It's when Emma starts trying to cheat for you that you know you're up shit creek. Oh my God, she's trying to help me win. That means I'm really stuffed.
It could be psychological warfare. It could be my insider.
Yeah, it could be a lot of things. We'll leave that one alone.
So you just had scores up before.
Yep.
Looks as though there's a few games that are finished, so we've got about 45 minutes left of this round.
Yeah, we did have a few. So we've had Dave Horn defeat Shane Horvath. Pretty convincing. It's about a 30-point swing for Dave, which gives Dave
Dave did
4-1 for the day.
So Dave got 96.
Yep, and have a possible 100.
Not bad.
Lockie Rigg defeats Connor Rockwell. It looks like Seb Zellick has defeated Craig Sumpton, which would actually mean Seb is on 4-1, 4 wins and a draw.
So he will be picking up third.
At this point, yes, he'll be picking up third unless something else weird happens.
Courtney's just doing something on the screen, so we can't...
He's updating something.
Yeah.
I think it was a tick box missed. What else have we got?
So at the moment they're just updating Shane and Dave's scores because Shane hadn't gone through and approved them.
To give Courtney credit, he's had Alan walking around threatening people today to make sure they've done it.
Yeah, but it's Alan. It's hardly threatening, is it?
That is true. And we've had Dan Norrish get over Bree in the final round.
Just 87 to 78.
Yeah, and look, Seb.
That's a high-scoring game.
Seb's Necrons beat
82
Craig's
to
Necrons
70.
82 to 70. That was very close as well.
So it's just those 4 games that are finished?
Yes, so far.
Okay.
Ben says the Termies are nearly dead. Yeah, they are. The problem is that what it's taken to get rid of them in turn with what they've managed to achieve is quite a significant thing.
Yeah, but we're in turn 3.
I think we're into Az's turn 4 at the
Oh,
moment.
see, there we go. They don't have to last much longer. Still going. There's still models on the table.
There are still models on the table. And I think it's a testament to Azza, who looked quite downtrodden at the end of turn 1.
Again, I think he started turn 1 looking like that. He's looking a lot brighter and chirpier now.
I think that's because he's kind of rallied himself a little bit, as well as realised he's on the home straight. So...
Just saying.
Yeah, it's more winged things in the middle of the table. And the Triumph of St. Catherine going in as
well.
More
winged things. I'm not going to try and guess which ones they are. They've got wings.
I can see they've got wings. I can't see whether they got swords or pistols. It's too hard to tell from here.
Is there a zoom? Can you zoom in?
I don't want to press anything without knowing exactly what it does.
Fair call.
I think I can change the feed for the camera to run through a separate program before it goes to the streaming program, which would let me move the camera like remotely. But
just ask Matt, who's standing there.
No, like I've actually tested
No,
it.
just ask Matt what's in the middle of the table.
Oh, okay.
Because he's got eyes and feet.
Hey, Matt. Are they Sephirim or Zeraphim? Zephyrim?
Seth.
The Bang Bangs or not the Choppy? Bang Bangs. Okay. Yeah, we are in the kids' corner.
We may actually be the oldest people in the room.
We may be the oldest people in the room, that is true. So they are the Bang Bangs, not the Chop Chops, in the middle of the table.
So it's Seraphim,
not Zephyrim. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Seraphim's another word for angel. I believe that's the rough Latin translation. I could be wrong. I probably am. Feel free to tell me that in chat. I'll ignore you.
Because we can't see the chat at the moment, so
Yep.
it's all good.
Too many screens. And Ben knows what he's looking at because he was sat here with me, knows that he can't see the chat unless I minimise it and show you. So that...
So Ben was here earlier?
Yeah, Ben came in and helped commentate one of the rounds, which was awesome. He came in his bright orange work clothes, so he fitted right in with the OBSEC theme of bright orange and red. It was great. I meant to pack your red T-shirt, like your red matching shirt of mine, but I'm kind of glad I didn't.
Couldn't find it, and I thought, you know what, there's enough logos everywhere that people know where we're from.
That is true.
Yeah.
And
to be fair, I'm that low you couldn't see the logo anyway.
That is, yeah, that's also true. It's quite a low-slung couch.
It is. And you know how I said it was comfortable? Take
not.
it back.
Yeah, I was going to say, try sitting here for 10 hours.
Keep wriggling around. It's really not all that comfy. Just keep moving my handbag around too.
There was definitely one game there where I turned the camera off, turned the mic off, and got up and walked around for 2 minutes going, nope, I need to get up and move.
I was just thinking that. Do you want a drink, honey? I might get up and...
So, got 40 minutes in the round. This is going to be an interesting combat. The Seraphim aren't especially awesome in combat. They've got a few little tricks, but it'll depend on whether Jordan can interrupt, if he's got some CP left, to have a crack at whittling the numbers down before the rest of them get to swing. There are only 2 Terminators in the midfield there as well with the Chaplain, though. So,
what are the chances of him still having CP left at this time in the game?
Well, there's multiple dice sitting around the table, so it's hard to know whether they're miracle dice or whether they're CP. And you do get 1 CP at the start of every turn. So,
oh, that's right, yeah.
You know, there's nothing saying you couldn't end up with a 1 or 2 left at the bottom of turn 3 or turn 4. I also like the fact we are getting the occasional pair of shorts move into the frame as the spectators come to watch the top table. To be fair, I'm just glad that apart from...
Whose shorts are they? I can't work out whose shoes they are.
I think we're over here.
Nope, they've got black shoes on.
Yeah, but there's also a delay in the... So you can see the black shoes there in the frame now.
Well, who had white shoes on before?
That would be Seb Zelix.
Oh, yep.
It's important to know what shoes you're looking at on the side of the frame.
Well, it was for me. I couldn't see anyone in white shoes. I could see white shoes there.
Look,
being haunted.
We've had disembodied hands on the table earlier today with someone leaning on the table, and all you can see in the frame is this hand. So... So we've lost the Terminators in the midfield there. Not unsurprising given the volume of attacks that have just come in, particularly with the Triumph joining the fight. But it looks like the Chaplain's hanging around. I'm just trying to figure out... Yeah, that's what I thought. So Az has been very clever there where he's been able to consolidate to open the gap for St. Catherine to then pile in and fight with the Chaplain. The only thing I'm interested in, though, is how he's going to be able to fight the Chaplain. Because if he declared to fight her, then he has to have charged her. And he'd have to make engagement range, but the Terminators are in the way. So I don't really know how he's moved the Seraph. Oh, no, he would get to move because he's declared a charge. He's activated, he's moved. He's deliberately not ended up within 1 because then he could be fought, but like the Chaplain could then fight Catherine. So instead he's left the Chaplain to... Or is the That is Catherine fighting. How is he doing that? And that is the chaplain dead. Maybe she didn't swing then. That would make more sense. I'm very confused.
Have you mic'd the table?
No.
That's probably good.
I think the issue with the room is just that there'd be too much noise. I was saying on one of the earlier streams that the next upgrade, which I actually wanted to do before today, was another one of these and another mic stand, which obviously helps us at home with the podcast. But it also means we're going to have the two of us here set up the same way. And then after that, a mixing deck to let me put more than 2 mics through, which would then give us the opportunity to look at doing lapel mics for the players, which gives us the opportunity.
Well, we've struggled with lapel mics.
We have, but I'm hoping...
Spent a fortune on lapel mics, and they just can't...
Yeah. I'm hoping that we can get someone specific to show us how to set them up and make them work to the best of their abilities. And then I want to feed the audio back to us in the headsets, but
I am struggling enough to watch what's happening there, plus try and see the delay and listen to you, and you want to have feedback going through the headsets as well.
Yeah, not for everyone, just for us.
I feel like that is way beyond my capacity.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So just for me then.
Yeah, you go for it. There's enough voices in my head. I'm struggling.
So clearing that midfield objective means Az is going to score direct assault this turn, because he does control it, which is great for him. I think he's still got 2 banners down on the left-hand objectives, top and bottom. Engage on all fronts, he's still got 2 points out of that this turn as well. The only downside might be I think he only scores 5 for primary this turn. But recovering that midfield objective is a big deal. There is Ezekiel. There's the 2 Talon Masters at the top of the screen that can easily come down and help join the fight. There's a couple of multi-melter attack bikes, which are really bad news for Catherine if he can clear the space. Yeah, look, it's certainly Az has done a really great job to pull it back. The question is, is there enough there that he's caught up on points, and can he deny Jordan enough points to keep it close? And that's a hard one to call at the moment. I don't know.
So if this ends with a draw...
Jordan wins.
Yeah.
The only way that, Jordan actually has to lose for this to be anything other than Jordan taking the event out.
Mm-hmm. You can see players walking around carrying their armies on display boards. It is a very, very packed room. Seeing him walking around carrying that just... it's like a recipe for disaster.
Jordan bringing up 2 of those bodyguard Terminators through the ruins to basically have a couple of extra bodies there to start dealing some damage and continuing to protect those independent characters.
Yeah.
So we've got the attack bikes moving in. We've got the Ravenwing Apothecary. Here come the Talon Masters as well. We're definitely going to see that mid-board continue to be contested in some way, shape or form.
Mm-hmm.
The other Talon Master, if he can position it well, then it presents a few different opportunities for him. But I don't know he's going to... it looks like he wants to try and position it in such a way that he can sneak it in with Catherine being the closest.
Yeah.
But I don't know that he can with the size of the vehicle combined with what else is around. I don't know what fits.
It's actually... it's posing a bit of a problem having the boards this high up. So one of the things that we've talked about I know I'm sorry going off on a tangent, but one of the things we've talked about is actually having the higher tables.
Yeah.
But trying to watch Jordan at the moment, trying to watch him get up high enough to be able to see above
over
things,
the terrain as well.
the terrain, is actually causing some issues.
When you're 6'6", it's fine. When you're 5'6", it's not fine.
But Jordan's not 5'6", and there's not many people in the room who are 6'6". There's a couple.
I was going to say, have you looked around?
No, there's a couple.
I can see three straight away.
I was going to say Jake and Luke would be the two that I would think would probably be the tallest guys in the room.
And Alan and Tim Barnard.
Oh, well, Alan's not playing, and Tim's not as tall as...
Alan has played. He's played 2 games today. They love these table heights because they don't go home with sore backs.
Yeah. But just saying, I can see there's an issue as Jordan's going to have massive calf ache tomorrow from the amount of time he's spending on his tiptoes.
He is on his tiptoes in thongs on the concrete floor. Look, he's getting great calf lifts out of it, though.
He is. He's going to pay for it tomorrow. He needs to take some magnesium and maybe have an Epsom salt bath. Actually, I highly recommend that for all the players. Just saying.
OBSEC Health and Wellbeing brought to you. Jesus.
Ben, is that Ben calling it that Aaron's going to win?
So there's a comment there from Ben saying at the end of this turn, Jordan is going to have the two Talon Masters and the 2 bikes left. No, he's got more than that, so you were wrong. What's the deal with chopsticks on Az's side?
I was wondering that as well.
What chopsticks?
I think they've been moved now, but at one point there was some
I can see them there.
sticks there.
I have no idea. So we can find out if it's a pressing thing.
Or just make something up.
Yeah. Calling it now as wins this. I think it's going to be closer than it looked like at one point there for sure, Ben, but I don't know he's got enough in the tank to finish it off if Jordan has a solid turn. I think this is turn 4.
Is that them? Really hope they are his sunglasses, otherwise we've just given away someone's sunnies to a random person.
Oh, okay. Those are 9-inch long dowels that he uses to mark out deep strike.
Ah. Well, that's not fun. Could you not come up with something better than that?
I would have loved to have seen him go, no, he always has a Nazi Goring before his final round if he's going to win. Like he's, They said they do a mean Nazi Goring here, I'm told. It would have been nicely and themed. I'm sure Shane would have appreciated the shout out for it. The bike's not dying bottom right was huge, and those extra 5 primer would be big. Yeah, absolutely.
So we're down to 30 minutes left.
And I think this is the bottom of 4 if I've counted it right. So we've still got a couple of Terminators up on the very top of screen near that objective on the left, which are obviously going in to deal with the models up there, clear them out, take back the banner, which will be big as well, and deny the primary. There are still 2 Terminators up on the top right objective, holding the home objective. So it really does become a fight in the midfield there, where if those 2 bikes and the Talon Master on the right flank can clear that objective, it's objective 2 on the bottom right, and the multi-melter attack bikes and everything else in the midfield can clear the majority of what's there, we're kind of in the same position we were last game, where both armies are just trading units left and right.
Yeah.
The Terminators probably lasted longer than they should have, but with all the buffs and stuff on them, those Repentia took a long time to get through them. So we've got some deaths in the Seraphim family. I believe this is to gunfire at the moment.
And Mitch is walking around like a rooster.
What do you mean?
I mean, or maybe Mick Jagger, which is very similar.
It's going to be a tight ending to this game.
Just saying, I did say that in turn 2.
It certainly didn't feel like it in turn 2. It looked like Jordan had control of that.
You have way too little faith.
It's not that I have too little faith at all. It's just I probably didn't give enough credit to Azza in the army that he's playing, to be fair. And I'm adult enough to admit that. We are losing models in the midfield there.
Mm. There's still that smattering around, though.
There's not a lot left. I mean, there's that.
Yeah, I was just looking at that, but I was kind of thinking, discounting what's down in that bottom right-hand corner.
And this is the power of, like, it doesn't look like there's a great deal of models, but there's an awful lot of dice that Jordan throws with the models that are there.
Yeah.
So you go, okay, this one's shooting. How many shots? 18. How many shots? 16. How many shots? Like, there's a lot of that goes on. And as you can see, those models are rapidly diminishing in the center objective.
Mm. But again, we're turn 4.
Yeah.
So we're getting close to the end anyway.
Well, 40k at the moment is almost a game of trades.
Mm.
And as long as you're trading up, then it's fine.
We're trading equally.
Well, equally is the bare minimum.
Well, yes, exactly. But,
trading up is what you want.
Trading up is what you want. But at the very least, you want to be making sure that you're breaking even.
Yeah. And there's different ways of measuring whether you're breaking even or not. And I think that in the early part of the game, the trades were very much in Jordan's favour.
Mm.
Now that, like, as soon as those Terminators died, that was a tipping point in terms of what else has died. Because all of a sudden, you kind of have to throw everything at the Terminators to get rid of them.
Yeah.
And then after you've done that, the bikes suddenly become a lot less threatening because you're not throwing even close to the amount of firepower at them.
Yeah.
But those 2 bike models on that objective that are OBSEC, they're 3 wounds each, T5. That's a Talon Master down. He is balancing it on the second floor of a ruin, I guess. So yeah, I think that killing those 2 bikes with just basic attacks is an exercise in luck, because there's 6 wounds there, 3 up save, toughness 5.
Yeah.
The Seraphim don't have the punch to kill them quickly, and the Rhino's purely there to lock them up and be annoying. So here come the attack bikes into combat as well, alongside the Ravenwing Apothecary. Ezekiel's gone in as well. I'm assuming the hope here is that Ezekiel kills those last couple of basic models to kind of reclaim the objective without OBSEC, because now we've got more models.
Yeah.
And between the buffs that are available to him, hope that the Ravenwing Apothecary can tank Catherine's attacks.
Mm.
But he kind of had to charge to make sure he had enough models on there to control the objective. So that might just be the lesser of 2 evils situation. So he's just popped the strat that lets him... It's a very clever play by Jordan. So what he's done is he's charged St. Catherine, declared to attack with the Ravenwing character first. That stops her heroically intervening because he's base-to-based her.
Mm-hmm.
Then he's fought first and then spent the command points to immediately flee the combat.
Yeah.
So now she doesn't get to fight, she doesn't get to heroically pile in, and she's 1 model on the objective.
Mm-hmm.
And it's literally stopped her dead in her tracks, where she would have normally been able to heroically intervene, pile in, and potentially kill 1, 2, 3 attack bikes.
Instead.
Now we've just seen Ezekiel kill the last of the infantry on the objective, and now they outnumber Catherine.
Mm-hmm.
Catherine can't do anything. He now gets his 3 points from domination because he holds the top right, bottom right, and middle.
And centre.
And he gets direct assault, which is again in the centre. I don't know he gets the kill from the Raven Wing one that turn. I didn't see a kill. And those top two Terminators have just cleared the last of those Seraphim on the top left as well. So that's another blow for Azza in terms of losing the banner and the primary. So what have we got left? We've got Catherine, a Rhino, what looks to be a handful of Battle Sisters versus the 2 Talon Masters, 3 attack bikes, a couple of characters, and a couple of 2-man Terminator units. Just lost a couple more sisters there to the combat phase as well.
But again, this is turn 5 now.
If we're going to go, I think it's Az's turn 5 now.
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming.
Yep. There goes the chest clock tap. I'm getting used to that noise as people are hitting the
but it's
clock.
going back. They are going backwards and forwards with it, so...
I think there's just a conversation on morale happening here. So this should be Aaron's turn 5.
So, I mean, as you said, there's a handful of models left. 21 and a half minutes left to go.
Gumby went 2 and 3. So the Ringer went 2 and 3. One of those was Courtney, so that's why he's so chuffed about it.
I'm still going. Yep.
So it looks like the best Az is going to score for turn 5 for primary is going to be 5. I believe he still has a unit on that bottom left objective behind the wall. So, and I don't believe there's any obsec in the middle of that for Catherine to control it, which means that he's getting 5 there. He's got a shot at getting direct assault in the midfield, but it's a long shot because there's a lot to clear. He's not getting engaged on all fronts anymore because those Terminators have finally cleared that top left-hand objective. So there's no points in that. So what do we have? We had a direct assault, engage on all fronts, and what was his other one?
Was it banners?
Banners, that's right. So he's going to pick up a point for banners in the bottom left, and he'll get another one when the game ends, assuming that banner's still there. So it's a low-scoring turn for Azza, and there's... they've got time to roll it out.
That was where I was going when Courtney came over before. So we've still got... But there's only a handful of models left on the table, but we've still got 20 minutes left, so we should see it come to an end. And, you're saying that you're expecting, did you say 7 points that you're thinking for Aaron for this turn?
Well, he'll get 5 on the primary to start the turn. He can't get engage. He's got a shot at direct assault, and he'll get a point for banners and then another point at the end of the game for banners. So, yeah.
Between 7 and 10?
7 and 10 tops.
Yeah. But we don't know where they're at the moment.
No, but I can also play out Jordan's turn based on what's still on the table now and what can reasonably be contested and killed. And you end up with 15 on the primary just by the nature of he already holds 2 Terminators up on each of those top 2 objectives. And there's no reason why the Talon Masters and the other bikes that are left over can't ensure that there's 15 scored.
Yeah.
Killing Catherine off the middle objective to pick up domination and direct assault might be ambitious, but he needs to hold more to get domination. So he might not get direct assault, but using those 2 Talon Masters to clear that bottom right objective is entirely possible. So he may not get direct assault for the final turn, but getting domination is completely reasonable. He might also be able to use those Talon Masters to pick up a kill after moving 12, which will give him Death on the Wind. The final turn for for Jordan is probably a 20 to 25 point turn. So I don't know. Like I feel like they've been relatively even in the early game. Is it just going to
so
become a runaway now?
The scores that we've got at the moment, was that at the end of turn 2?
I think so, yeah.
See, I don't know where we're up to with scores for turn 3 and 4.
That was halfway through turn 3 because Azza had already scored his primary that turn. So, and that's the thing. If you can max out your primary by the end of turn 4, then it doesn't matter about turn 5 for primary. So, but I feel like watching the game progress that Azza's probably, if he's behind, it's on primary. But it's hard to tell. Cobra Kai never dies. Sensei Jordan got this. Can we get a score update? Are they still 35-35? Okay, he is cooked. Ben's finally given it up. Oh. That was a big metal noise. I'll try and get the boys to give us an idea of what they are, but
They've got 17 minutes left.
I don't really want to interrupt them.
Yeah. I'll go and see if they've got it written down. Hold on.
Okay. You take your phone because you forget. Okay. So we do have some Melter still left. I definitely feel like there's stuff, because this is only 3 turns. And
I feel like there's stuff missing.
And it's not even a complete 3 turns.
Okay, well, that's all I've got. Can you get a score update? No.
Based on the fact that I feel like turn 3's 15, 30, 9... What's 18 and 12? 30?
Yes, it is.
So, best guess at the bottom of 3. 10, 20, 30, 40, 45 to 60 in favour of Jordan at the bottom of 3 would be my guess.
Okay.
But that, there's not enough information there for me to be certain on that.
That's all I've got, sorry.
So, yes, it looks like at the bottom of 3, Jordan was in the lead by about 15 points. Now, we are obviously seeing the death of attack bikes in the midfield there as well. But we do still have 2 units of Terminators plus the Talon Masters.
Sorry, we just got a quick question that comes that says, are the lists available for this event? I'm assuming they're on
down under
pairings.
Yep, they are. Is that on the Facebook page?
It is.
Is that on the finals comment? What comment's it on?
It is.
I can post a link to the leaderboard where you can click on the little eye icon and you can see them all.
Perfect.
From the looks of it, Jordan was up 60 to 45.
So Mike's just giving Shane our guess at what the score is looking like.
We've got a vague update, but it's not correct.
But looks... So they're writing notes on a notebook rather than a score sheet, which is, great. But there's seem to only be 3 lists of scores there.
Yeah, at the bottom of 3, based on the scribble that we have from Azza, it looked like 45 to 60 in favour of Jordan. And I think that...
It didn't look as though turn 4 was going to have Aaron pulling back those 15 points.
And certainly for
or pulling back 30 points in order to make turn 5.
Between 7 and 10.
Yeah.
So
the chopsticks are actually 9-inch measuring sticks so that he can use them to measure. Yeah. All right, so
I'll
more
do that
and more
one.
scores are coming through.
I've been told I have to put the kitty corner back together.
It just says neat and tidy. Doesn't say back together.
That is true. Yeah, I without knowing exactly what the scores are, we have just seen Ezekiel die.
Oh, I missed it.
I think that Azza probably picks up 10 to 12 points in the final turn, and with some...
Oh, you've upped it. That was 7 to 10 a minute ago.
Well, I'm just looking at that midfield. I didn't know whether he'd get direct assault.
Now looks like he will.
But he's just cleared Ezekiel and the attack bikes. There's still the right... he's going to control that objective because nothing in the middle is obsec from what I can gather. I think it's just the Ancient and the Raven Wing Apothecary. So he controls that objective. So that'll give him another 3 points.
I'm very torn. I really wanted Jordan to win because he came into it on 4 wins, and if it had only been 4 rounds, he would have won it. But now, since Aaron's the underdog, I really want him to win, and everyone's given up on him. So I feel like I'm the only one that's still barracking for Aaron.
Well, when his best mate Ben has said, "Nah, he's cooked.
That's
it's
it.
done.
I'm out."
Yeah. I do, however, think Ben probably picks up 15 on the primary.
Ben?
Not Ben. Jesus, it's been a long day.
I was going to say he's doing incredibly well, given he's doing it in his living room.
That is true. I think Jordan probably picks up something in the vicinity of 20 to 25 points in the final turn. And if that 15-point swing is correct at the end of turn 3, like it looked like on the scorecard, it means that...
Aaron needed to pull back 20, 25, 30 points in round 4 in order for it to come close.
I could be wrong, but it's...
that has been known to happen.
Not very often.
Repeatedly.
Never. So hopefully we'll get an idea of...
An idea of...
I'm just watching the body language and what Aaron's saying to Shane.
Okay.
It feels like at least I killed.
Ah, right.
Like I heard
I'm
that.
finding some positives here.
Exactly. So I don't know whether that is we're done.
The notebook's out.
Turn 5? 4. It's the bottom of 4 though, isn't it?
We added an extra turn in. You added an extra turn in.
Well, that's interesting because this, they've got 10 minutes to go. They can finish turn 5 in that time, I should add. That is entirely possible based on the amount of models they have.
Scores.
So is that's not the end of 4 though, is it?
That's the end of 3.
That's... but he's still playing turn 4.
So Shane's sitting here and he's going 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Doesn't matter how many times he counted, it's still only 3.
Domination.
There is a 4 there under the bottom one. Like 3, 3, 3 and 3.
So it looks like, if I've counted this right, he's going to get 3 for domination. He's going to max out on Death on the Wind. He's probably not getting direct assault.
Direct assault seems to be the only one that's got 4 numbers under it.
No, I don't know why there's a B on it, but...
Oh, is that a B? I thought it looks like a 3 from here.
I don't know. I think he scribbled it out.
Oh, right, okay.
Because for turn 4, he definitely doesn't have direct assault. So he's going to be picking up 9 for direct assault, 12 for domination, 15 for Death on the Wind, and then 30 for the primary. And then in response, Azza picks up 25 on the primary. 9 plus 3 is 12, plus 12 is 24 in the secondary. So yeah, there's a decent gap there in Jordan's favour by probably 15 points, and that's probably the bottom of 4 is what it ends up as, a 15-point swing. And if the game continues, I feel like there's the opportunity for turn 5 to be worse. So yeah. So as much as Shane wants his teammate to pull this out, I think it's a big ask.
Still 8 minutes left. Who knows what can happen in 8 minutes?
Well, the funny thing with turn 5, particularly for Azza with what he's picked, he scores the primary at the start of his turn. He can score the banner at the end of the turn, and then obviously the banner at the end of the game that he still has on the last objective, assuming there are still models there. I'm making an assumption there are in the bottom right-hand corner. Actually, there are.
Yeah,
I can see some down
them.
There. He's not getting engaged in all fronts because there's nothing to score it with, unless that Rhino drives like mad up the screen and picks up 2 points for him that way. And he's got direct assault at the moment. I don't know he actually gets cleared from direct assault. So he picks up 12 points. He's already down by 15 at this point. And then if everything goes to plan, then Jordan picks up 10 to 15 on the primary straight away. So I think this is Jordan winning it. And
Aaron doesn't need to pull back as many battle points as he can because he's already coming second.
Well, he's going to score second regardless. Yeah. So see, now it's just a case of the Talon Masters trying to make sure they pick up the last point of Death on the Wind and see if they can contest that objective. Because if you've got 3 models to throw, like 3 or 4 models apiece, the problem is those Talon Masters. I'm not sure
if it's a good or bad sign that they've started adding in noises.
Oh, that's just the end of the day. It's my goat gun. It's a squid gun. It's an orc thing.
It's not.
You'll be pleased to know as well you are not alone in the in the annoying tabs department, because that's Travis's laptop. Travis discovered that after you open 100 tabs, Google Chrome gives you a smiley face and amalgamates all the tabs. He found that out by accident through work.
I'm going to admit I have had that, and then it just brings it up as a new...
Yeah, opens a new, an entirely new application.
Yeah.
So...
I don't find that annoying. It's organised.
I found that hilariously distressing.
Right there with you, Travis.
I might try and update what we kind of have.
With as best we can. Okay, it has slowed down significantly. Yes.
That, I believe, is as close to the current score as we can manage at the moment without interrupting the guys and making them add it up for us. And obviously with so little time in the round left, they've got less than 5 minutes now. We don't really want to interrupt them while they're trying to wrap up turn 5.
No, in fairness, like I said, they have slowed down significantly now, and it has...
And I think that's because they've both kind of realised that the result's not in question.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a matter now of playing it out to an amicable and, positive end to the day. I think that's Aaron just adding up what he's scoring in turn 5. It doesn't sound like a very long list. Yeah, it's a bit hard to tell if there's anything of note actually worth talking about. It looks like it's now just a case of them. Like we've still got that one bike over on the bottom right objective. He's taken a wound, but he's objective secured, and the Rhino and the other model aren't. Him hanging around has been massive to the end of the game because it's been picking Jordan up points where he probably didn't deserve it.
Well, you can't say he didn't deserve it.
No, but in terms
he strategically placed the model there.
Yeah, but in terms of the probability for what was there to try and deal with 3 bikes, the fact there's still one there and everything else around it isn't. Kind
of the way the game goes, though.
Well, but what I mean is you wouldn't expect that to happen. It's a probability thing. I think Jordan crossing those 2 Terminators, the length of his deployment zone to be in those top 2 objectives at top of 3 or top of 4, I think he managed it, to really lock down his primaries was really well played. And, there goes the final bike. We've actually had that bike finally die, but it was way too late in the process. And again, because Jordan scores his primaries at the end of turn 5, he's getting 10 here at least anyway. Those 2... it actually depends on how many CP he has, because he might need to fall back and shoot in order to clear one of those objectives. Which at that point, he gets 10 for primary, he potentially doesn't get domination, he potentially doesn't get direct assault. Like, I don't know it's enough to swing it back, but I think it's too far gone, even with...
I think given the change in Aaron's demeanour,
I think he's realised it's all gone.
Yeah.
Well, and that's it. I mean, there's a 20-point swing. No, Alan, they're in the top of 5.
They have gone into turn.
Yeah,
okay.
It's Az's turn at the moment, and they're in 5. I think they're just literally trying to wrap it up to get an actual score.
At the end.
And then
so there are 2 games going at the moment.
This game and one more.
Yeah.
And I'm
That's
wondering,
why 2 works.
I was just wondering whether they were actually done and they just hadn't done it, or whether they were still playing, but they are still playing.
Yeah. So the game that's still playing is Rob Horton and Jaden McGarry.
They're on table 3, so they're probably playing for like a top 5 finish.
Yeah.
I've just watched Matt Crosby eyeing off my wall of zip ties holding the cameras in place and whatnot.
Zip ties do the job.
Yeah, look, I added extras after the first game when Connor had an impact with the frame, so I pulled it down and retied it, and it's got a big blob of blue tack in there as well, and there's sticky tape up there, and
oh, good.
It's not
going. MacGyver job.
It's not going anywhere.
So some blue tack and a biro?
No, there's no biro.
Shame. I meant chewing gum and a biro. And that's time.
Yeah, that is time. I think they both just acknowledged that they're just scoring it out now. Yep. That was Az's. Yep, we're done. Put your scores in, guys, so I can update this so we can end the stream. I want to make sure that we end. I've made sure for the whole day that I've waited until I've got the score and then ended the stream, so anyone who watches this later will be able to see the final score.
Goes. Alan, can you tell me to put the scores in?
No draw. You got Seb there who won his last game and is hoping these guys drew, so he had a shot.
No, he's just saying that it would be funny if it ended with a draw. It would have been.
It would have been.
It would have been awesome. Oh, does that look like scores are going in?
Well, I can see Rob Horton and Jaden McGarry scores are going in.
Oh.
I think Aaron's just picking the secondaries and that sort of thing in down under pairings. So it looks like Rob Horton beats Jaden McGarry on table 3.
79 to 49 at the moment.
94
to 49.
94 to 84.
Oh, that's a fair bit closer.
Staging a comeback there, Jaden, every time I hit refresh.
Yeah,
it's always
it.
good. So Aaron and Jordan scores are currently 55 all.
It was 55 to 10 a second ago, with Aaron on 55 and Jordan on 10. Looks like Jaden McGarry and Rob Horton are staying 94 to 84. Some very high-scoring games today.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, there's a lot of very close.
I was going to say, lucky we got 100.
82 to 70, 80 to 99, 81 to 86, 88 to 72. There's a lot of really close. 87, 78. There are some that aren't that close, but there are.
You can see 86 to 26. That one's probably not as close as.
Oh, they've had
Matt
to amend
like
Rob's score. It's 87 to 84 in favour of Rob.
Woo! Oh, that's 3 points. Hang on, has it changed again?
I've now got the final scores.
Which is.
That is a max score game for Jordan.
So 100 to 55 is showing at the moment. And Aaron's entered that. We just need Jordan to approve it, but
I'm just going to go in and have a quick look at what the score actually was for the primary. So Aaron only scored 20 for the primary, so that's a mistake at my end.
And then 25 for the secondaries, which is obviously where we get.
Yeah, so 90 to 45 or 100 to 55 is what it's reflecting because of.
I was like, I could have sworn I said 55.
Yeah, it's because of Battle
10.
Forge.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the final score. It's now. I'm just going to make sure it's actually come up on the stream for everyone. I think it's just updating now.
No, you can see it.
It's slowly changing. There we go.
There we go.
So. Thank you very much for joining us for the final game. That sees Jordan go 5 for 5 with his Dark Angels today. If you want to check out any of the games, they're all going to be on our YouTube channel over the next 24 hours while YouTube crunches them and uploads them. We'll make a playlist and we'll share that playlist on our Facebook page so you can go and check them out one after another if you've got a spare day to go and watch 12 hours of games.
And you did say that you're going to put links to all of the
I'll compile it all and
lists.
put it in one post on our Facebook page so you can see the lists, you can see the full result leaderboard, you can see all the games as well. In the meantime, we're going to transition.
But otherwise, if people are watching this later and they haven't seen it on Facebook with the list, they can head to Down Under Pairings and check out WA events.
Search WA Ironman. You'll find it easily enough. But we're done. So thanks very much for joining us, and we will catch you all soon.
See you later.